Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the FPL Tom YouTube channel. We are, of course, here live ahead of the deadline for double game week 26. There are so many questions that I imagine you guys have got for me ahead of today's stream. So, yeah, we're just going to go live. Obviously, we'll be live till around about 4 o'clock, and then we'll let the big boys go and do their thing. But yeah, for me, this could be, one of the biggest game weeks we've had in a long time, to be honest. Lots of decisions to be made. Captaincy as well for a lot of people, still undecided. Triple captaincy as well. I could potentially see quite a few minuses flying around this week as well, with people trying to bring in double game week players. There's also some really attractive single game weeks to be targeting as well this week as well. So yeah, it could be a very active deadline stream today, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. What I am just going to do is quickly change this little bit of section because it doesn't quite come across enough. There we go. Cool. There we go. That is now covered. Looking in the chat, we've already got lots of people already in here, so great to see you guys already. Some people confused already to cap. We'll have a look as well who to go for. Cragman 75 says, hey, bro, Gokrez for Waltermada and TC him. I don't mind if you do want to go for Gokrez this week. My big concern would be around his minutes. I'm not sure he starts both games. I can't guarantee that. But if you've got a strong feeling that you think, he could start both games, you think he could be a decent option for this game week, why not? Because at the end of the day, right, Brentford have conceded the most goal involvements to strikers within the Premier League. Wolves are fifth for that metric as well. So whatever guy ends up playing up front for, realistically, Arsenal across this double game week is going to do quite well. The problem is they've just got so many quality picks that they could go for. One game, it could be Gabby Jesus. Maybe then Gokrez plays the Wigan game. Then he doesn't feature in the Wolves game. That really could be how it is. It genuinely could just be where we might see Gokrez not even start the Brentford game because it's not suited to his profile or whatever. And then we see him actually, maybe just start the one game. That would be my concern on Gokrez. Like, the minutes, if you bring them up, are all over the shop. And I really would not be risking captaincy or triple captaincy on a guy that I can't guarantee is going to play both double game weeks. I personally would think I would just rather go for a safe and steady captaincy or triple captaincy option on it. But like I said, it could be really explosive because both of those sides are vulnerable from that position. So it's kind of one of those you got to weigh up. And I think for me personally, in my risk tolerance, I wouldn't go for it. But if you are maybe a little bit more of a gambler manager, you fancy having a little bit of fun, maybe you're a little bit further behind than where you imagined you would be at this point in the season, then yeah, maybe go for it. I think Gabriel TC is probably going to be like what most people end up doing. I've put a poll out already that you guys can get yourself involved with. TC Gabriel this game week. 74% of you currently are going for the TC on Gabriel. I am going for the TC on Gabriel. I'm pretty sure of that as well. So yeah, we'll just keep across it. How many points do I have overall? I can't remember off the top of my dome, but we've had a few bad game weeks back to back, and now find ourselves at 130k. So a little bit disappointing with how things have gone recently. But I do have a plan, and it might involve a -4 this week. It really might. So yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. Maguire or Senesi for this game week? For this game week, I think I would actually prefer Maguire. I think he could be a decent threat from the set pieces. Going to be a massive difference between engaged managers, casual managers won't use the TC, I don't think. I still think even some of the casuals will probably do it. I've seen in like a few group chats that I've got with just, friends from like back home and school and stuff that they're like still thinking about going for it this week. So I reckon even kind of the more casual managers will also be considering it as well. Do I reckon Reece James will start? Apparently he was ill, so I'm going to probably say no on that one. What's up, man? I'm decent. I hope you're doing good. Should I bench Anderson for Bowen? Never bench penalty takers. My mantra. I actually think, we'll come on to talk about my model in a little bit, but my model is obviously very, very bullish on Jared Bowen as a pick, right? And Jared Bowen this week, like, United haven't really improved defensively, like, massively in recent weeks. They're still vulnerable and they can still be got at. And West Ham have been scoring plenty of goals. And you do feel like if anybody's going to score for West Ham, it is going to be Jared Bowen. So, Yeah, it's kind of one of those where I think Anderson's got the nice, safe, and steady 4 points in the locker, right? But the upside pick is definitely going to be with Jared Bowen. So I guess it kind of falls into a category of where you want your kind of, player to go for as well. Is it going to be you look at the safe and steady upside, or do you go for the safe and steady floor, or do you go for the big, big upside? I think personally for me with that situation, I would be tempted to play Bowen. Like you said, he's got penalties as well. And I think that's probably the way that I would go with that one. Somebody has just sent in a super chat. Thank you very much for that. Yuzun has just said, am I an idiot for captaining Zubimendi? I think if you've got to look at what he's done over the past few weeks in terms of his goal scoring, it's been back-to-back goals, right? Off like 0.1 XG combined. So very low XG opportunities. Now, I usually would say that probably doesn't correlate to him being able to do that on a consistent basis. I think for me personally, going for one of the defenders or a Rice is probably the better alternative in terms of captaincy. However, the model has him, I think, at around like 8.2 projected points across both of the game weeks. There's just plenty of better options, I think, personally, for captaincy this week. But if you do fancy it, I'm never going to obviously sway people away from going a pick that they do fancy, especially in a double game week as well. Any tips leading into game week 32 wildcard? Like, what's the best to do on the day game week 31 ends? You will pretty much just be looking to catch as many price rises as possible, right? There is a way of doing it, and I can't quite remember the exact way to do it, but basically you pretty much just want to max out like your minuses by bringing in players that are price going up so you can catch as much value as possible. However, with the value in the position we're in right now, it doesn't really seem like that's kind of necessary because a lot of the premium assets aren't really kind of, there as options, to be honest. So, I think you could probably get away with it maybe. Just wildcarding and just doing it straight like you normally would. But pretty much I would say either take a lot of minuses or activate the wildcard instantly and start building up that team that you want and get the players in for obviously the prices you want. If you are enjoying today's stream, guys, like I said, by the way, make sure you are liking, subscribing, all that good stuff. We are on that road to obviously hitting 30,000 subscribers before the end of the season. That is the goal that we've set ourselves, and it is only possible with your amazing support. If you do enjoy the streams as well, make sure you're hitting that like button. It pushes the stream out to more people, and that is exactly what we want to be doing as well. Afternoon, mate. Congratulations on the 3 months membership. Really do appreciate that as well. If you do want to become an FPL Tom member, make sure you are clicking the join button. It's like 99p. I've made it as cheap as possible. You get yourself little shout outs and priority in the chat as well. So it's a pretty decent deal for 99p, I think, as well. Also, it helps support me and means that I can book more time off work to do more of these streams. So happy days. The other thing as well to mention is, of course, team reviews now are all over on Discord. If you want to come and join the Discord, that is the pinned comment, or you can find it in the description as well. The FPL Cartel, that is a collaboration between me and Golden Goal Fantasy Football, and is arguably, one of the best communities I think I've really been in for, just high quality discussions, obviously helping people review their teams. We've got the model in there now as well, and our exclusive podcast as well that we do film for most game weeks. So yeah, we are in a pretty decent position with that as well. So get yourself in there as always. Good afternoon, Tom. Sell Semenyo for Palmer. I would not be selling Semenyo. I think he's a quality pick for this week. I'm jealous of people that have got Semenyo as an option for this week. Should I start Garner or Kroupy? I think personally for me, I probably would go with Garner on that one. I probably would go Garner. I have a plan to bench boost in game week 33 and wildcard in game week 32. Will also free hit in game week 34. So the likelihood is that I TC now instead of a game week 35, 36 and Haaland, as there is uncertainty around the Manchester City double. That is the exact same thought process that I am currently having as well. I am going for it now because there is still, like I said, I'm going to play the free hit in 34, the blank. I'm going to play my bench boost in 33. So that leaves me with just the 36 double to obviously manage. And if there might not even be a 36 double, so what's the point? I might as well, we've got an opportunity here. It's not like Arsenal have got 2 terrible fixtures here. They've got a decent kind of overall probability of getting 2 clean sheets out of this week. So I might as well take the gamble. Here's a guy, of course, that has done exceptionally well, 4 points per start as well this season, averaging 7.4 points per start, only behind Erling Haaland. So for me, it does represent a really, really good opportunity to, of course, look at Gabriel for the triple captaincy. And like I said, just take that uncertainty out of the way. Did you avoid Mbuemo? I didn't avoid him. I just couldn't afford him. There's more of the way to go really around it. The best cheap defender to buy would be for me James Hill. Right, James Hill is going to be the one to go for. Free hit 31 is fine for a free hit. Like it's a fine strategy to go for. The problem is game week 34 will be a bigger blank, right? And if you're setting your wildcard up in 32, looking at the doubles, obviously, in 33 and 36, that then means those players that are doubling will blank in game week 34. So what you need to be doing is getting yourself in a position where you still have that free hit in the back of your locker to play out a full 11 that week. Otherwise, if you wildcard in 32, then you get all the doublers for 33. You're also then going to be left in a position where most of your team is blanking for game week 33. That is why it is like the route to, of course, go for in terms of the free hit in 34. That's why it's so appealing, and that's why a lot of FPL managers, and I think the go-to strategy at the moment is to do that because it makes the most sense realistically. Should I start Thiago or Krupi? I still probably would go with Thiago. Yeah. As much as it pains me to say, like Arsenal's weak spot is strikers. Like they're obviously a very, very good defense, but the one area that they seemingly do concede from is strikers. Thiago has penalty share as well. All it takes is one daft moment, somebody to, of course, give away a penalty, and there you go. There's Thiago. Best replacement for Szoboszlai, Wirtz or Sarr. The problem with Sarr is you will have to book in another transfer in game week 31 to then get him back out. But the next few fixtures, there could be some big upside in there. So I probably would go with Wirtz. He also has the extra fixture over Sarr in game week 31 and obviously saves you a further transfer down the line. If I've got Mane, he would start for me ahead of Thiago. Like it's a double game week. He could just get 2 for playing Arsenal, and maybe he bags a goal in the first one. That is obviously 8 points. Thiago's going to have to get quite a bit out of that game to, of course, match that as well. How will you manage the blank in 31, Tom, with free transfers, or will you wildcard? I'm wildcarding in 32, so after it, so all my transfers will be pretty much just building making sure I've got a start in 11. So the players that will definitely be on my bench will be Haaland and Gabriel, because they're the two that I've built the most budget into. Rice and Timber, I don't have too much kind of bankroll kind of built into either of these guys. So it will just be benching Haaland and Gabriel. The other options may, of course, leave the team as well. Richards, Timber and Rice could all be pretty much just leaving the team as well. Let me bring up my transfer plans and what I'm thinking heading into this game week then, guys, because I've put it out on X, and if you do follow me on X, I tweet a lot about what my thoughts are with my team. It kind of changes day by day, doesn't it, really? And I feel that's the case for absolutely every single FPL manager. But these are my current thoughts, right? Is we're going to take out Malik Chow, and we're going to take out Szoboszlai. First of all, we're going to bring in Hill, because he's 3.9 and playing every single week and hitting close to hitting DEFCON or hitting DEFCON every single week. And the other option I'm going to go for is, if it moves to midfielders, is Morgan Rogers. This would be my -4. Now, I have to make this move this week because otherwise I will be priced out. And I'll have to go pretty early with my transfers anyway. And of course, that might lead us to being in a position where we're not, ideally, I don't really want to be making early transfers when we've got an FA Cup round. And of course, then, other factors can play in. It's quite an extended period of time there. So we might get some rogue injuries if we went early with the transfers. So I'm thinking the -4. And the reason I've done this is I'm fed up of the front three, right? Thiago and Ekitike have really, really frustrated me across the past few weeks with their blanks. Then they'll get a decent haul. Then they'll be back to blanking for 3 weeks in a row. And I feel like anybody who's had these two guys has probably been in a very similar position where they're just absolutely fed up of owning them. However, the fixtures after game week 27 for both of these players are phenomenal, right? Let's go for Thiago first. So after the Arsenal game, they've got Brighton, Burnley, Bournemouth, Wolves, and Leeds in the blank. Great set of fixtures. Happy to keep him for that. Then we look at, obviously, Ekitike as well. Sunderland this week, which I don't think is the easiest fixture, given Sunderland are the only unbeaten side at home in the Premier League this season. But then they've got Forest, West Ham, Wolves, Tottenham in game week 30, and then Brighton in blank game week 31. So, again, some really nice fixtures in there. And I do feel like a lot of people, I could maybe have the advantage over these people when we are, of course, coming to the next few weeks as well, because a lot of people will be stacked on the midfield five. But I'm looking at my midfield and I do feel like I'm missing out on that fifth midfielder spot because, people have got Rodgers, people have got Bruno Guimaraes, people have got Mbuemo, and all these guys are just absolutely decimating me at the moment in terms of my rank. So I want to go with Morgan Rodgers. Very simple. I think the next three fixtures here are actually pretty good for Rodgers, right? Brighton, he's got a very, very good record against. Then it's Leeds at home, and then it's Wolves away. Absolutely cracking fixtures. Chelsea and United after that are a little bit more difficult. I'll give you that, granted. However, then he gets a cracking fixture in game week 31 and also gives me another potential captaincy option to look at for that game week as well. So that is why I really, really like the look of, Rodgers for this week. Hill, like I've spoke about, 3.9 million defender who is playing 90 minutes every single week, and his DEFCON numbers are pretty decent. Also offers himself up as a nice option that we can play over the next few weeks. Everton this week, but he's going to be sat on our bench. West Ham, Sunderland, Brentford, Burnley, and also again has a fixture in game week 31. Again, not the most ideal fixture of Manchester United, but at the end of the day, it still is a fixture in that week. So that is kind of where my head is at in terms of my team. And I think the moves I'm going to make this week, right? That is where my head is at for the moves for this game week. Let me know what you think of it. Like I said, it is a -4. I think this might be the first hit I am going to be taking this season. So quite a big moment, but yeah, kind of one of those, isn't it, really? Kind of one of those. But yeah, let me know what you think of that. Oh, I forgot to get a drink before I started. That's a rookie error from me. My throat is going to be drier than Gandhi's flip-flop by the end of the stream. Vice captain Timber or Rice? I would probably maybe go. I think if that defense, obviously, if Gabriel's out, then I do think then, yeah, I probably would be tempted to go, I wouldn't want to look at the Arsenal defence if Gabriel's not there, so I probably would go with Rice. I don't agree with the Rodgers Sobo move. Hill, I agree on. The thing with Rodgers is, right, the thing with Rodgers and Sobo is Soboslai is now playing at right back, right? And I know his point scoring ability has been fine over the past few weeks, but when he's playing at right back, he has very minimal attacking threat. Now, I know he scored in the game against Manchester City, but it was a wonder free kick, right? It was literally just a wonder free kick. Morgan Rodgers right now, for me, feels like the Aston Villa talisman. I can't say the same for Dominic Szoboszlai to me, to be honest. So, yeah, I personally can't see it. I'm going TC Rice, 2K overall this year, benching Ekatike for Richards this week. My model, we'll come on to my model in a second. We'll bring up that slide, but yeah, my model agrees with it. You know what? Let's do it now. Let's bring it up now. So a lot of you in the past few streams, we have been talking about my model, and obviously I've not been able to showcase it to you guys on screen. Now, if you want obviously full access to come and have a play around with this, get your own team done in this kind of format as well, that is available in the FPL Cartel Discord. Link for that, obviously the pinned comment or in the description if you want to come and check that out. But this is how my team is obviously lining up for this week in terms of the projected points, right? So as you can see, we've obviously got Rodgers in here. Pretty decent points for this week. But what it actually has suggested is benching Ekatike for Thiago. Like I said, the points per game for Ekatike have been really, really bad. Like, his points per game are just not where they need to be, really, to be honest. So I understand it. Like, and you compare that to Richards here as well. 5 for Richards this week with a great fixture up against Burnley. You know, if he gets a clean sheet, some DEFCON points could very easily outscore Ekatike this week. So I don't hate it. Ekatike, though, for me, does feel like a player that has the more explosivity value in him. And yeah, I would probably, probably still would be tempted to play Ekatike. Sobo's just going to miss the one game. Like, it's not like, he's going to miss multiple games. He's just going to miss the one match for this game week. But like I said, when he's playing right back, all he's there for is DEFCON. I've already got a DEFCON guy. Yeah, I've already got a DEFCON guy, so I'm going to go with that. I think Rodgers, the next 3 in the game week 31 fixture, has the potential for some absolutely massive mega hauls in there as well. Rice or Gabriel, which one is better? The thing is, right, I think both are good options for the TC this week. For me personally, I think I'm going with Gabriel because I think that's where most of the consensus is right now. And I think, the clean sheet it is just a nice way where we could rack up 12 points instantly before he even does anything else, right? Rice, interestingly, Wolves have actually conceded the most goal involvements to centre mids in the league. So he could be a really, really decent option to go for this week, right? If we bring up the double game week 26 here, apologies if you can hear some drilling, by the way. I'm guessing one of my neighbours decided, a Tuesday afternoon, what an ideal time to start drilling. So yeah, apologies if you can hear that. I hope not. But yeah, if we head over to double game week 26 and I filter this back down, hang on. Let's get all the players in here. And I filter this, obviously, with the top players for this week. So as you can see, it is Gabriel, Rice, and Timber. These are the top 3 players to, of course, be looking at this week. And these are the players that everybody, for me personally, will want to have, right? They're going to be the 3 top boys. There isn't too much, I would say, in terms of the predicted points here between Gabriel and Rice this game week. Like, it's 0.2. Again, I am apologising if you can hear the drilling, by the way. It's doing my head in as much as it's probably doing your head in. But yeah, as you can see, it's quite close between the two. So I'm personally going to go with Gabriel, but I think Rice could also be a very, very steady option as well. Do we think we could see a 200-plus point scores this week with many playing the TC on Gabs, 2 clean sheet and a goal? I genuinely think we could as well, because what we've got here as well is a week where there are so many fantastic one-off fixtures as well. Like, you think the United game, Bruno could do very well in there, and Buemo could also do pretty well in there. A normal week, I definitely think a lot of us would be looking at captaincy on Erling Haaland as well, with that Fulham at home fixture. Absolutely cracking game there. A lot of us, of course, have other Arsenal players with great clean sheet probabilities as well. So yeah, I really think we could maybe see somebody hit a very, very big score this game week. If they get all the right players and that triple captaincy really pops off for them, they could be looking at an absolute mega haul. They really, really could. So yeah, like I said, this is the FPL model. Of course, if you want any player comparisons, we can do these throughout the stream. This is why I've obviously brought this view into play for today's deadline stream. So if you do want, of course, any potential head-to-head predictions, then obviously we can put it in here. I will give my advice as well. So yeah, there you go. Cool. Let's head back to the team screen selection then. I like what I did there, the team screen selection. Like I said, this is the move that I'm contemplating for the -4. I think I'm going to go with it because, like I said, it really does set up the team structure long-term. Very good. Very good. And I think Rodgers could be a decent option this week. He's got, like I said, a pretty decent record against Brighton as well. And I do believe he's probably playing to get himself on the plane for the Euros as well. Saka out, Rice/Bruno in. I think you got to go the double game week player this week, so you probably go Rice. Yeah, that's probably the way I would go on that one. Bench one of Reece James or Kroupy. I think with Reece James being a doubt for the game, I probably bench him. I mean, that midfield is absolutely ridiculous, by the way. I would not change a single midfielder in there. That is completely perfect. Verbergen or Dubravka? Great question. We can do that one in the model for you. So let's switch back to that screen. Let's have a look. So we've got Verbergen or Dubravka. Let's have a look. Here we go. So it is actually saying Dubravka is slightly ahead by 0.5 points. So that hopefully gives you an indication of where the model's kind of head is at for that one. I mean, Crystal Palace are the joint lowest scoring team at home, by the way, this season with Wolves. So who knows? Who knows? Hi, Tom. Should I start James Hill or Maguire? I personally would probably go Maguire on that one. West Ham are poor from set pieces, and United are very, very good at it. So I think there could be a big route to go there. Senesi or Wilson? That's another good one as well. Let's take a look. So we've got Harry Wilson actually slightly coming out ahead. Interesting. I personally probably would have gone for Senesi. But But I guess the thing with Wilson is you do have a guy who has set piece share. City still do look vulnerable at the back as well. There's definitely opportunities to get at them. So I personally would probably lean Senesi, but the model here is suggesting to go for Harry Wilson as well. Gokares TC, we spoke about that a little bit earlier, and I just said for the guy that I can't guarantee minutes on, I personally probably wouldn't go for it. That would be my advice on that one. Let's have the holy coin. Should we activate TC or not? Yeah, let's have a go on the coin. Let's have a go on the coin. We've had a few people send in their teams for review as well, so we will take a look at that in a second. So someone said, could I have a go on the coin? Of course you can, right? Tails is we're not going to do it. Heads is we are going to do it, okay? For the big TC, all right? For the big TC. Ladies and gentlemen, it landed on tails. The holy coin has spoken, and it is suggested not going for the TC this week. Personally, I'm going for it purely for the reasons that I've explained earlier in the stream, but yeah. Right, we had someone ask for a team review. If you do want to get your team reviewed, like I said, head over to the FPL Cartel. It is the link in the pinned comment. Or, of course, you can just click the link that I've just put in there and come and join us. Come and join us. Right, let's head over and take a look at that one. Discord. Cool. And when you do come in here, there is a section labeled FPL Tom's Stream, right? And this is where you can put your teams for review, okay? So we've got Janice has sent their team in, so thank you very much. They've put, hi, thinking of going Munoz for Tarkowski and maybe Hill for Dorgu, but I'm not sure. What are your thoughts? Okay. So Tarkowski to Munoz, I don't mind that. And Dorgu to Hill. Okay. I think for me, my priority is always to take out my injured players first, right? That is my initial thought. But could you get away with just maybe going Verge, Tark, Gabriel as your back three? Play that as a 5 in midfield and Evan Nielsen as Haaland. Like, it's not the worst. It's not the worst team in the world. Like, genuinely, that's not the worst team in the world. Wilson would probably be your only iffy player. Obviously, Tarkowski, not the best fixture, but could still hit defensive contributions. I think he's hit it in 72% of his games so far as well. But yeah, for me, yeah. Would I do the Munoz to move? I think personally I would. If I had to do one of the moves, I would do the Hill move more than I would do this move. You could also go to Richards if you want the clean sheet for or the decent fixtures for Crystal Palace. You could just do that to Richards, and then you kind of get the kind of side of both coins. Really, I don't think personally for me, I would do it for a minus. I don't think I would take a -4 to bring in Hill and to bring in Munoz. I don't think I would do that for the -4. But again, if it sets your team up very nicely for future weeks and you're happy with it, then go for it. But for me personally, I probably wouldn't do the hit, and I would rather get rid of the injured player before taking out Tarkowski, who has a fixture in Game Week 31 and is all right. Like, he will just tick along with DEFCON and stuff like that. Coop Jake 29, thank you for sending your team in. They put triple captain active on Gabriel. Curious as whether to move to Palace players. It would be Senesi to Hill to free up the funds for Hall to Munoz, but not sure if it's worth it. Especially having to consider the extra transfer in Game Week 31. Yeah, that is the big problem, isn't it, right? It is that additional transfer because you've already got Klein there, so that's one defender spot you've got to deal with. You've got Gabriel, you've got Rice. Reyes fine because you can stash him, so let's not talk about Reyes. So you've already got 3 there that you're going to have to deal with regardless. And you're saying to me you want to do Senesi down to Hill, and then who would you go for up the funds for Munoz? I mean, you're still then going to have that one spot, right? I'm guessing is going to be the play, right? Or Hall to Hill. Then you've got another one, though. But that's then 4 players you're going to have to realistically deal with. Oh, Haaland as well. 5 then you're going to have to deal with by Game Week 31. I personally probably wouldn't want to put myself in that position. I think Senesi is completely fine to keep there. Again, if you're not feeling Hall, I understand it, because obviously the Newcastle fixtures have been disappointing, but they've got an okay fixture in blank game week 31. I'm personally not convinced I would do that move, for me anyway. Like, Munoz could be a guy that really, really goes off this week, but I don't think I would go for it. Yeah, I don't think I would go for it. I think then you're just adding more players to deal with in game week 31, and that, for me, like, it could be a recipe for disaster. Like, we could just get massive injuries over the course of the next few weeks with Champions League, FA Cup, Premier League. You could see some players get injured, and then, of course, then we're left in a position where we're all going, yeah, really wish I didn't have an extra player to deal with, especially if they blank over the next few weeks. If they haul, great, makes it worth it. But if they blank, you're really left in a position where you're like, yeah, I kind of wish I didn't do that. Next up, we've got El Pedro Pete's. He says, hi, great stream. I have 5 free transfers. 5, Pete. That is impressive. Thinking of Tark or Hall to Hill. Thanks. Yeah, I probably would be. I would look at the other rotation that you've got here with Alderente, and I think Alderente and Hall actually rotate quite nicely with each other. So that, in my logic, I probably would then maybe go for Tarkowski and play, obviously, play Hill this week. So that is where my head would be at. Like I said, just because they have that nice rotation between Newcastle and Sunderland, so you've already got that natural kind of rhyme there anyway. And Hill just has pretty decent fixtures, so if you want to obviously play him in there as well, he also represents a decent option as well. So I probably would be more tempted to move out Tarkowski than Hall for that one. Yeah, that's the way I'd go on that one. Let's have a look what's kicking off in the chat then, guys. People are asking, can I do a free hit in game week 31? You 100% can do a free hit in game week 31. There's nothing stopping you doing a free hit in game week 31. But the case is, and I've raised this before, the bigger blank is going to be in game week 34. And if you're wildcarding in game week 32, you want your team to be set up for the double game weeks in 32 and potentially 36, right? So that team is going to be set up for that. And the teams that are going to be doubling in 33 will blank in game week 34. So you'll be left with a whole host of players to deal with, rather than just kind of, 4 or 5 with this week. So yeah, for me personally, that is probably why I would avoid a 31 free hit and would rather look at picking up players that don't blank that week, or of course not have too many of them and start to save over the next few weeks. Because that's the key thing you've got to remember here is, right, you can stash 3 of the players on the bench. Realistically, 2 of them will be Haaland and Gabriel. Those will be the 2 that you'll stash on the bench. The rest of them, you're going to have to start to move out over the next few weeks, or of course be patient and bank transfers. And I feel like a lot of FPL managers, they can't be patient, because it's just the nature of the game, isn't it? You see people doing well, and if you've got players that are blanking, it is going to be really, really frustrated as well. Thank you very much already for 50 likes. We're absolutely smashing it out of the park nice and early on. We've had another team sent in for review, so I will go and check that in a quick second as well. Let me just reply to this message. But yeah, sell Thiago, buy João Pedro. I wouldn't sell Thiago, right? Look at the fixtures after this week. They are all really good for a guy that plays 90 pretty much on penalties. Brighton, Burnley, Bournemouth, Wolves, Leeds, Everton, Fulham. Yeah, I personally would not be selling a guy like that off ahead of that run, for me anyway. That's got, like I said, very good minutes, is playing, has the penalties for a side that wins penalties very consistently as well. Oh, I missed a super chat. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. Apologies to the super chat I missed. I probably was on a different screen looking at team reviews. Again, apologies if I've missed the super chat. I've just seen it here. Thank you very much. Is that Marriott? I can't quite see it on this screen. But a $2 donation. So thank you very much. They've put Thiago Chalobah, Gahey, Dubravka. Should I bench boost? It's not a bad bench boost, especially with the Chalobah fixture in there. But like I said, for me personally, we're going to have that big double in game week 33. And that is where I would be personally looking to save the bench boost. But yeah, apologies for missing that super chat. Things were getting a little bit crazy there as well. Things were getting a bit loose, a bit wild. If you want to send it in on the Discord, the correct channel is the one that is marked FPL Tom's stream, right? So we've got another one sent in here. The correct one to do it is in the FPL Tom stream, like Patty Cakes has just done here. I'm so close to Strand Larson for Bowen and wildcarding in 31. Okay. I mean, personally, like, my model absolutely loves Bowen, and he is a guy that is just going to continually play very good minutes and is on penalties. And I haven't really seen anything from Strand Larson for me that would suggest that he's all of a sudden going to be like this amazing pick. He's only got one Premier League goal. He had a great opportunity at the weekend, and I did feel like he snatched the opportunity a little bit. So I am wondering, is his confidence still there? Like, I know the fixtures for Palace are great, but again, I personally wouldn't be rushing out to sell Jarrod Bowen because he is, like I said, a guy that is on pens, a guy that plays 90 minutes for a West Ham side that have been scoring in recent weeks as well. So I don't personally think I would go for it. But yeah, there we go. Some other teams flying in the chat as well. Very busy today. So thank you for everybody who has recently joined the FPL Cartel Discord. It is really appreciated as always. Myself and Tom obviously work quite hard at this. So yeah, thank you very much. So we've had one sent in at the moment, sorry. What should I do here? Thinking of a TC on Gabriel, Tom. Yeah, I like the TC idea. 1 free transfer. So you probably play Raya, Gabriel, Cucurella, Verge, 5 in midfield, 2 up top. Yeah, I don't think personally, I reckon that's an easy role. And then, yeah, I would probably just TC Gabriel. Yeah, I think that's pretty easy to do. Sam has sent his team in. He's put 0 FTs, all chips available. Rank is 16k right now. Any recommendations? Oh, the team's looking all right. I mean, if you think O'Reilly's going to start, then yeah, that's fine. The team looks good. The team genuinely looks good. If you want to go for the triple captaincy on Gabriel this week, like I said, there is still that uncertainty around future double game weeks and why I am probably going to activate the chip myself on Gabriel. So I understand it if people are thinking about it. If you don't want to go for it and want to, of course, wait for future double game weeks, if you think, City are going to get another one, I'm going to go with Haaland, then I understand that. And I but there is that risk element of potentially waiting this week. And then, of course, looking at future weeks, where you're just potentially going to just have a single game week one. So I personally wouldn't deep it too much. And I would maybe suggest, looking at Gabriel, I think he could be a really good option this week. And especially given your rank position as well, I imagine there's going to be a lot around you as well that will also go with the Gabriel captaincy for this, triple captaincy, should I say, for this week. Cool. I mean, this is the thing. Like, if your bench is absolutely ridiculous this week and it's really stacked with talent, I'm not opposed to the idea. But for me personally, I'm more likely to go in game week 33 than I am to go this week. That's just the way that I see it. Of course, guys, if you're enjoying today's stream, make sure you are hitting that like button. There's nearly over 300 of us in today's stream. So, yeah, let's see if we can get it up to 100 likes. If you want to join the FPL Cartel for team reviews as well, there is the link for that one. Play O'Reilly or Wilson. I think if you think O'Reilly's going to start, then I would put him in ahead of Wilson. Is a bench boost with... It's fine, like I said, but I guess if you've already used the wild card, then yeah, maybe it could be the one potentially, because you're not going to have the ability to set that wild card, that team up for game week 33. So yeah, I don't hate that. I don't hate that this week if you think it's in a good place. Hi Tom, I need to bring in one player for this game week, preferably someone better until game week 31. Should I go Wirtz, Rodgers, Munoz, or Lacroix? I really like Rodgers. I think he's got some great fixtures coming up, as has Verts as well. So both of those guys could be absolutely fantastic options to go for. Munoz and Lacroix, I also think could do exceptionally well. The problem with those guys is, of course, you don't have the fixture in game week 31. So I would personally, what I would do is look in FPL.team. This is how I did it and kind of ruled out Saar for me, is I went through each week and went, okay, does my team need a transfer this week? If it was yes, then I made like a transfer. And I got to the point where I was looking at it going, I'm probably going to have to take a minus if I bring in any more Crystal Palace, Arsenal, Manchester City players. So I decided for my own team and to get my team in the position I want for the next few weeks and still have decent coverage in game week 31, that the best play was to not bring in any Palace players. So that is what I would recommend for everybody's team, is just go by like, each day and just do that. That's for me personally what I would do. Rice or Gokrez? I mean, for captaincy, I think you probably go Rice just because of the security in minutes. The thing with Gokrez is he is in all right form, right? But again, the minutes are so difficult to call. He realistically could be in a situation where he doesn't start either game, starts the Wigan game and comes off the bench in both of the games. Like, that could be a scenario we really do see from Gokrez across this double game week. So yeah, like I said, we could be left in a position where it could be a bit dicey, with Gokrez. But there's high upside in that pick. There really is. VVD or Chalobah to Munoz or Roll. Again, depends how many players you will have available for 31. As long as you've not like absolutely loaded or stacked into it, then I think I would probably maybe look at Munoz. I think he could be an exciting pick over the next few weeks. Kelleher or Dubravka? I probably would go with Dubravka on that one. Should I use Donnarumma or Pickford in goal? I think I probably would actually go Donnarumma there. I think City have got better projected clean sheet numbers this week as well. So that's the way that I would personally go for that one. Start DCL or Cherky? I probably would go... I'd be tempted to go Cherky, to go DCL, Yeah, I think I'd probably be tempted to go DCL. I really, really would. Is it worth to take a -4 in game week 28? It will be able to roll every week until the wildcard in 32. Don't hate it. Like I said, I'm probably going to be looking at a -4 this week because, like I said, it gets me in a position where I'm really, really happy with my team over the next few weeks. And also then means that the team structure is set up and also allows me to then just start banking transfers for that blank game week. And of course, any that I want to use post wildcard in game week 32 as well. So yeah, again, I'm not against the idea of a -4. I never have been. I think if it puts you in a decent place and gets the team structure really cooking, then again, like I said, I am not opposed to going with a -4. I'm really, really not. I have Mane in my bench from before. Should I play him instead of Ekitike? My midfield is so strong. Should I risk it and play Mane? I think I probably would play Mane ahead of Ekitike, yes. And if you're feeling your midfield is pretty strong, then I would personally... yeah, I personally wouldn't bench any of them, and I think Ekitike probably would be the one. Yeah, let's have a look at the Discord if we've been sent over some more. We're going to have a butchers at that. Let's have a butchers at the Discord. Let's have a look at that. Where have they been sent in? They've been sent in the wrong section. So if you are going to send these in, by the way, guys, make sure they are in the deadline section labeled FPL Tom Stream. Otherwise, they can get lost in here and we might not be able to see them. So Adam has sent his team and he says, any suggestions or tips? Should I play Dubravka or Verbergen? Should I TC Gabriel or Rice? Is my bench order correct? Now, my model was suggesting playing Dubravka ahead of Verbergen, and I think I could also get on board with that. Like I said, Palace haven't been free-flowing at home, so I would be maybe tempted to put Dubravka in there ahead of Verbergen this week. And TC for me, I think, is on Gabriel. The bench order, I would probably be tempted to put Hill ahead of Mukelele, and I reckon the rest is good to go. What do I do? Me in the top corner. They got 0.1 million in the bank and 2 free transfers. I think realistically, you've got only 2 Arsenal. Okay, right. So, what I probably would suggest doing. This is a toughie. What I personally would suggest doing is maybe going Virgil to probably Timber if you can afford it, and Chow down to Hill. Does that give you enough money to go and get Timber? I think then you've got your free Arsenal for this week. That's probably what I would suggest going and doing at that one. So yeah, go Virgil up to Timber and Chow down to Hill. Let me know if that gives you enough money. Or you could potentially do Dorgu down to Hill. That might also give you enough money. Or you could do Bowen down to a Mane and have an extra doubler. But of course, remember then they do blank in game week 31. So it is then another transfer to potentially use for that blank game week. But yeah, they're kind of the options I probably would root for. Cool. We only need one more person to hit subscribe to hit 26.4, which is absolutely ridiculous. The subs growth, again, has just been insane. I think this time last week we hit 26K on the channel. So every week we're absolutely flying in terms of the subscribers. So thank you very much, guys. Like I said, your support is really, really appreciated. And yeah, big fan of what you do for me, guys. Bowen to Strand Lawson could be the one. Yeah, that's not a bad option. Again, though, you've got to navigate blank game week 31 with quite a few players. So the next few weeks, you are probably just going to be sat on your hands, not making any moves. So do bear that in mind. I mean, though, the thing is, if you can't predict when Haaland is going to be rested sometimes. And if that's the case where Haaland might not get rested and stuff like that, then it could just be one of those where you're then left with a guy who randomly gets benched for one of the games, or, City might not even get that double further down the line where we want to put that, fixture in. So that's also something to consider for those that are thinking about delaying the triple captaincy chip for this week. We're on 83 likes, but there's over 300 of you in today's stream. So if you can already, make sure you are hitting that like button. Let's get this stream, like I said, up to 100 likes nice and early and get things really cooking along. Like I said, we're going to be live till 4 o'clock. So we've got another 2 hours to go. And yeah, hopefully try and help as many of you out as we possibly can. Again, another super chat. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate that. If you wanted to put a comment, put it in and we'll read it out for you. Any new injury updates that people are aware of? I haven't seen anything as of yet when I had a little bit of a scan on socials before coming live. But of course, if we do get any, people put it in the chat and we'll try and keep across as much as we possibly can. Calafiori or Timber? Thinking Calafiori could be a good differential, but unsure of his minutes. I think there you've answered your own question. Go for Timber. I'm more about it. Gabriel is the second best player for points per game in the league, only behind Erling Haaland. So, yeah, he might be a centre-back, but yeah. The thing with Bowen, it's one of those where, yes, the fixtures aren't amazing, but you're still selling a guy off who will play very good minutes and is on penalties. He will just probably tick along over the next few weeks. He probably won't put up any amazing scores, but I think with Bowen, he will just tick along. He will just tick along very, very nicely. He's probably not justifying his price point, but it's kind of one of those, isn't it? The problem, like I said, with Strand Lawson is that blank in game week 31. That is the issue that you will, have to then book in more transfers further down the line. If you can only buy one, Hill or Richards, I would personally, again, Richards is great and there's some amazing fixtures, but it is then booking in a further transfer for a cheap defender. I think Hill, for me, probably edges it just because of, like I said, having that extra fixture over the next few. Ishmael Assar is, again, very similar situation to any Palace players that you are going to say to me. They could go nuclear. They really could over the next 2 fixtures and the Leeds fixture in game week 30. The big problem is that blank then in game week 31, and how do you navigate that? You don't want to be left in a situation where you've got your triple Arsenal, you may be up kind of already on double City, then you're looking at maybe bringing in a Palace player as well. You've, remember, got to take these guys out of the side as well to go with. Is Ishmael Assar on penalties? I think Saar could be on penalties. Yes, I do believe Saar could be on penalties. He took the last one. Strand Larson obviously missed his last one for Wolves and then didn't take one since. So yeah, I really do believe that Saar could be the penalty taker. We could see maybe Strand Larson steps up again and takes it, but yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident on him being the penalty taker. But of course, I could be wrong. Things do change, and maybe Strand Larson being the striker takes it, and maybe they give it him. Bench Wilson or Thiago, TC, Gabriel, Vice, Timber or Rice. I personally would go Rice on the Vice. Nice. And then I probably would bench Wilson and play Thiago. This isn't my midfield, by the way. This is the midfield that I'm planning on getting to. It would require me a -4. So if you're only just joining the stream, like I said, we might be taking a -4 this week. Getting rid of Chow, bringing in Hill, and bringing in Morgan Rogers as well. I do just think that attacking lineup looks absolutely stacked, though. It really, really does, doesn't it? Ekitike to Strand Larson and Hall to Timber, or Wilson to Saar and Hall to Hill. The problem with Ekitike, like I said, is the fixture run is just really good. He's a player that if I had him, and I do have him, that I'm personally not looking to sell him, but I wouldn't recommend buying him. But I think you've probably just got to keep him in case he does go nuclear across this run. So it probably would be the latter option. DCL or Garner. I think Garner is the safe and steady 4 points. Probably more upside in DCL if he does go off. But again, like I said, the steady floor is going to be Garner. So why not just go for Garner? Bench Tarkowski or Mane. I think Mane's got the double, so you play him this week. Like if he scores and then gets just 2 appearance points from Arsenal, that's, a nice 8 points without any bonus. Start both Richards and Munoz, 100%. Yeah, Palace have got some great clean sheet numbers. Munoz as well, his record against Burnley and Wolves in the head-to-heads is very decent. Yeah, I probably would do that option. Who to start, Anderson, Krupi, or O'Reilly? I think, like I said, Anderson is just a safe and steady floor every single week. Regardless of the fixture, you can roll him out. There's probably going to be 4 points sat there in your team. Krupi, again, with his minutes, probably for me, I wouldn't play him this week. And O'Reilly, again, the uncertainty. So I probably would go with Anderson on that one. Start Senesi, Krupi, or Thiago. I think I'd go Senesi. Hi, mate, would you transfer Sobo to Saar and bench Senesi, or just play Senesi and roll the transfer? Depends how many players, like I said, you've got featuring in the blank in 31. If you're going to be fine, for that, then yeah, I don't hate it. I don't hate the first move. Someone just said you're going to get rid of Chow when he has a great game on blank game week 31. I know, but this is the thing. It's all the fixtures before that. And like I said, having that midfield spot secure with Rodgers, for me, just makes it better. Because otherwise, the only way that I'm going to be able to get Rodgers in for these decent fixtures and upgrade that other midfield spot is by taking out one of Ekitike, Thiago. And I just look at the fixtures and I do just think to myself, I probably can't take either of these guys out. The fixtures are just so good for both of them that they both could just be really explosive assets over the next few weeks. So I think the sensible play is actually just to remove Chow, whose points per game are pretty poor anyway. I know he's got a good fixture in 31, but it's a derby. You never know what can happen in these derbies as well. As you might have a team that is favourite to win them, but how many times do we see, United upset City in their derbies and stuff like that? Sunderland beating Newcastle earlier in the season as well. Like, it is, yes, a great fixture, but I don't think it's just worth holding on to a player for and restricting my kind of, my rest of my team. And I also think we gain a good fixture out of Rodgers as well for 31. So yeah. Hi mate, start Chalobah or Mane. Oh, that is tough. That is tough. I think you go with the double game week player, just because, like I said, if he gets a goal and then just appearance points, he could very easily outscore Chalobah. But that is a tight one. That's probably the tightest one we've had today. Is there any way you can get Chalobah into your side, or is that it? Do you think Keane starts? Michael Keane keeps every single week starting, despite me thinking he's not going to start. I personally believe I would probably look to move him on. And I think Hill and Richards are probably my two favourite replacements for it. Cunha or Rodgers, I would prefer Rodgers. Like I said, the next 3 fixtures for me are absolutely great. And Mbeumo or Rodgers, currently having Mbeumo. I would leave Mbeumo. Like, if I've got Mbeumo this week, I would happily keep him for this week. It's a great fixture up against West Ham. You could maybe look to make the move, or you could just keep with him. Like, he's still a pretty decent asset, isn't he? Hello, Squire. Play Gahey or Wilson. Oh, I probably would go Mark Gahey on that one. Adam Armstrong or Mane. I mean, Adam Armstrong's only just joined the club, right? I got an assist on his opening game. He could be a really, good pick for this week. I don't hate it. But he could be on penalties. He could easily be on penalties. Took them for Southampton before. So yeah, maybe Armstrong could be the one if he's got penalty share. Team reviews are now over on Discord. So if you want to come and join the Discord, that is the place to do it. It is the pinned comment if you want to get yourself in there for the team reviews. Thank you very much, guys, for over 100 likes on today's stream. Really do appreciate all the support that you guys are showing at the moment on the channel. It, like I said, is really, really appreciated. If today we can try, I think the aim should be, right, we've got another 2 hours. Let's see if we can get to 26.5k subs. That would be insane. That would genuinely be insane. So let's see if we can get to that number. Timber or Rice, captain? I would actually prefer Rice. Wolves are very, very vulnerable against central midfielders, so he would be the one that I would select ahead of Timber. Hey, Jamie, how's it going, man? Hope you're doing good. I can't decide between Thiago Gahey this week. What do you reckon? We could ask the model. I'm not 100% sure who actually comes out on top of that. I think Gahey's lost a lot of his appeal, though, in the fact that he's no longer, a big threat from set plays, doesn't hit defensive contributions anymore. So I think I probably would be tempted to maybe give Thiago the nod, but at the same time, City's clean sheet numbers are still pretty decent, aren't they, right? Bench Watkins or Mbeumo? Surely there's got to be somebody else you can bench there. Surely. Dango, Wilson, and Szoboszlai. Which two do you pick from game week 28? I think it is Dango and Wilson, right? Szoboszlai's playing right back. Like, he's going to be good for DEFCON, but that's about it. I know he scored that wonder free kick against Manchester City, but I would not be expecting that. He's also lost his penalty appeal as well, so he is pretty much just a DEFCON guy. Like, you wheel him out for DEFCON every single week. Triple captain on Gab, running Rice as vice. Very nice. Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm benching Thiago this week if I make these moves. So, yeah, I think that's fair. I do think that is a fair move. I'm personally going with Gabriel, but I can understand if people want to look at other options this game week. I 100% understand if you want to go for a different Arsenal player. I'm personally just going Gabriel. I think he's a cracking option for this week. What product do I use in my hair? I use, I think it's like Schwarzkopf something, curl cream. Not cream, it's like a spray you put in there. I've also got this comb, which is really good. It's a bit dirty at the moment, but I've got this comb here, which like just kind of, cuts through it and helps you like break up a little bit of the kind of like clumpy curls and stuff like that. Yeah, I didn't think I'd be talking about my hair on this stream, but here we are, I guess. Please tell me if you're captaining Gabriel. Yeah, I'm triple captaining him. I'm pretty locked on that. I guess the big question is, do we do this -4, really? Do I think Bowen starts? 100%, yeah. Yeah. Right, let's ask the coin. Heads is yes, we do the -4. Tails is we don't do the -4, okay? Tails. Oh, the coin. The coin is telling me not to do it. Okay. Hey Tom, if you had, who would you sell, Ekatike or Szoboszlai? I think I'm kind of doing that myself here with the transfers I'm suggesting. Probably going to be Szoboszlai, right? Sometimes we need the tips in your life. Hey, look, I'm happy to help you guys. I'm happy to help you guys. Whatever I can do, I'll try and help you. All right. That's the aim of these streams. Try and help you out and try and obviously give you some advice on my hair. That's all we're here for, isn't it? Hill or Richards? I probably put Hill above him just because, like I said, the fixtures for me personally favor Hill, and obviously, one less game for Richards this week. Personally, I wouldn't be looking to use any transfers on goalkeepers. I think you just stick with them. Yeah, I personally think you just stick with them. Finally, the coin finally going against our favorite this game week, Tom. Really interesting. The coin is not a fan of the moves we've suggested or the triple captaincy, is he? The coin is not feeling it. Not feeling it, is he? Yeah, the players I'm taking out are Chow and suspended Szoboszlai. I mean, maybe this is the week where Chow scores, right? Maybe this is the week where Chow goes and nibbles one in and we are left with egg on our face. But let me have a look on XG stat and see where the vulnerability is for Brighton. Because I haven't looked at Brighton. I've looked at pretty much most teams and I can pretty much tell you where most of their vulnerabilities are. But I haven't looked at Brighton. If it's like number 10s, then we're having Rodgers. We're having him. I don't mind Mbeumo longer term. I think he's, this week's probably his better fixture. They do get a little bit more tough after the next few weeks. So that would be the only thing I would, of course, just say on that one. Right, we're at Brighton. Brighton. Where are they conceding a lot of their opportunities from? 7th for goal involvements from 10s. Left backs they really struggle with, and forwards as well. So Watkins could absolutely go nuclear today against these lots. Yeah, they struggle against forwards. Looks like they also struggle against cams and midfielders, so bodes quite well for the Rodgers pick. Right and left wingers, they pretty much got that on lock, I would say, in terms of their vulnerability. So, yeah, I don't think that's too bad. I don't think that's too bad. Can you help with physics? I'm probably not. Yeah, the coin does that sometimes. The coin does that sometimes, doesn't it? It goes, oh, that nice, lovely plan you've got there that will definitely work. Yeah, sod that, mate. Is it still worth it if you've got triple Arsenal defense? Yeah, I still think it's still about the individual because the triple defense might lose their clean sheet, but if Gabriel scores, that really would bump you up and elevate you then. Yeah, looking at their vulnerability chart there, they look extremely vulnerable against forwards. Forwards seems to be the area where Brighton really do struggle. Second to that was left backs, I think, then was 10s. So Digne, Watkins, and Rodgers look like they could be, doing quite well this week. Evan Nilsson to Krupi and Wilson to Semenyo. I don't hate it. I thought Evan Nilsson was a little bit unfortunate in his last Premier League game. He had so many good opportunities and actually looked really, really good. But I really like Semenyo as a pick going forward. I do think he could be a real big rank killer if you haven't got him, and obviously I'm in that position over the next few weeks. I know he has a blank again, though, in game week 31, so that is the only thing to consider there. O'Reilly or Van Dijk? Who've Liverpool got today? I'd personally probably bench O'Reilly. Play Pickford or Roofs. Always appreciate your input. I actually think we could maybe see a big score from the Sunderland goalkeeper this week. I genuinely do, because like I said, they're unbeaten at home. They really know how to get the Stadium of Light rocking and keep the, like I said, the clean sheets tight, keep the defensive performances tight as well. But they also face a lot of shots during there. So what we actually could see is potentially a really good haul from him. He's going to face a lot of shots. I know the clean sheet numbers don't look as appealing this week, but I think that could be one of those that maybe goes a little bit under the radar. Now, Pickford saying that could also very easily have a very, very good game and could, come away with a very decent point score. But for me personally, yeah, I think I would be tempted. Like, even though the fixture doesn't look the best in the world, like I said, that unbeaten home record, the way that Sunderland play as well, would really, really appeal to me, I think. Start Krupi or Thiago? I'd actually probably go Thiago. Should I play a bench boost to Bravka, Mane, Hill, Alderente? Not the worst bench boost in the world. I personally would try and save it for 33 if you're on the wildcard strategy, 32. But if you're not, then yeah, that seems like a pretty decent one to go for. Mainu at 4.6. I think like if he's got to be hitting DEFCON for me to really start to probably elevate him as a pick, but he's not really doing that right now. I think as well, when Stack's fit and available, what's he down to, like 4.8? DEFCON set piece share. Sign me up for that every single day of the week. Let's say we don't TC this week. Then do we TC Haaland during the double game week? The double game week in 33 will probably be more used for bench boost, because we'll have, that will be the biggest double we'll get this season, right? So then you're looking at the double game week in 36 that Haaland may or may not even get. That is probably where you're going to play it. That's why I think a lot of FPL managers and a lot of smart managers are looking at Gabriel this week for the triple captaincy. So yeah, that's where a lot of people are. Well, that's kind of where a lot of people's heads are at this week, right? I think I probably would play the double game week player ahead of Senesi this week. Yes, I am TCing this week. Yeah, I'm TCing this week. Let me bring up the team then without any transfers. So this is how the team is looking. We're gonna activate the TC. Where's the button? Triple captain, play triple captain, Labosh. So that's in. So yeah, like I said, this is how the team is currently lining up. But I am thinking about a -4, taking out Szoboszlai, taking out Chow. And that is probably the way that I'm going to go with that. Yep, those are my transfer plans right there. The -4 potentially looking at going with this week. Do I buy O'Reilly to replace Delo? I won't replace Delo this week. It's a cracking fixture. Yeah, it's a good fixture this week for Delo. Or are you saying, do I replace O'Reilly with Delo? Not a terrible idea. Like, his baseline bonus has actually been pretty decent over the past few weeks. So yeah, I don't hate that as an idea. What is the poll saying? Let's have a look at that. 67% of you are TCing Gabriel this week. As soon as that Brentford goal and the Wolves go in, we are going to be in pain. We are going to be in pain. I can't do a straight swap for Child to Munoz. Don't have any money in the bank. Don't have any money in the bank. Munoz for Gahey. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Timber as a differential. I've seen a few people on Twitter. I think Alex Volo is going for it. I think FPL Olympian as well is also looking at a TC on Gabriel this week, on Timber this week. So yeah, I don't hate it. Is Chow a must sell or should I roll my transfer? I don't personally think he's a must sell. Like, if somebody sent me my team right now, I would personally probably just say roll. But I think given the situation that I'm in and given where I want to be in a few weeks and some of the price rises and decreases we're seeing tonight and tomorrow, I'm going to make my move because Chow's going down tonight, which then means I have the exact money to then play this strategy out, right? Then we've got Rodgers in for the next few fixtures. I think Brighton's still a really, really good game for him. Then he's got obviously Wolves and Leeds next to each other. Great set of games. So that's why I'm doing it. Because like I said, it for me sets up my team structure in a way that works better. And that is why I want to do it. But it's not for everybody. Taking these minuses or taking out Chow isn't for everybody, and it doesn't suit everybody's strategy. I don't have Gabriel. I have Timber, Raya, Rice. What do I do? I think, you've still got a great captaincy options there in Timber and Rice. So, yeah. Cheers for joining the FPL Tom fan pack. Really do appreciate that, Joseph. Worth a punt on Sesko yet. Still waiting for him to actually start games and become a decent option. Cash or Mook this week? I would personally go with Cash. Saliba, Rice, or Gok TC. I think the safe and steady one there would be Rice. The really upside chasing pick could be Gok for the TC there. Best Chow replacement? I think, look, Hill looks exceptionally value at 3.9 million, given the fixtures that are coming up, given his DEFCON numbers as well. I think he's a great pickup. Richards, Munoz as well, also very steady picks. If you've not got, obviously got any Arsenal defenders, Gabriel, Timber, Saliba, all going to be still pretty decent pickups this week as well. What's my rank at the minute? We've had some disastrous game weeks in recent weeks. I think we're at 130. 130 at the moment, so not ideally where I wanted to be. Like, we were in a decent position like a few more weeks ago, but it's just really not planned out. Like, it's just not planned out like the way I thought it would go. And Ekitike and Thiago, I really think missing out on that fifth midfield spot has really hampered me a little bit, and I think that's kind of been the catalyst moment of where my season has kind of derailed a little bit. Is not having that fifth big midfielder. So not having people had Enzo and he was smashing it. Obviously, last week was Palmer, Rodgers, Bruno Guimaraes, and Buemo. These are all guys that I haven't had. And I think it is because I've been, like I said, anchored to this midfield strategy, the free forward strategy I've gone with. And it just hasn't worked. It really, really hasn't worked. So I'm a little bit disappointed in that. But hopefully, maybe the free forwards is going to be the play over the next few weeks, given the fixtures for Thiago, given the fixtures for Ekitike. And like I said, doing this move with Chow and Hill also then gives me the ability to bring in Rodgers and have a pretty stacked midfield with Bruno, Rice, Enzo, Rodgers, Anderson, who's great for DEFCON. It gives me that ability to go and do that. When are you ending my stream? When am I ending my stream? Good question. It'll probably be about 4 o'clock. We'll let all the big lads go and do their thing, cook up, as they usually do. So yeah, we'll let them go and do that. I don't mind it. Look, Sar's also heading into this game in pretty decent form as well, so it's not a bad option you've got there, to be honest. I think mine's at around 104 million as well. Senesi, Gahey, or Chalobah. Choose two. Probably would go with Chalobah and Gahey for this week. Yeah, it's the free forwards has really been the downfall of where the weeks have kind of slipped away, to be honest. like I said, because people have had Palmer, Rogers, and Buemo, Bruno Guimaraes, and these are the players that I've not been able to get a hold of because I've been kind of just lumbered with these three up front. So yeah, hopefully the next few weeks is going to be the right strategy and they will actually start to deliver the goods. Otherwise, it's going to be one of those, isn't it? But hey ho, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. It's a game of luck at the end of the day. And if the player, like, if Ekatike continues to miss chances like he did at the weekend, then there's not really too much I can do about that one. Fair enough. Fair enough. Squad value of 106.8. Jesus. Any normal season, I reckon that would be really beneficial. But like this season, we don't have the premiums to buy, do we? We're just all kind of lumbering around with Haaland because the other premiums aren't at the races. Like I know Palmer had a good game last week, but it's not there, are they? I personally wouldn't be looking to buy any Forest players. Like it's a good 1 week fixture, yes. But at the same time, I ain't feeling it. And I also feel Forest could let everybody down. I know in the Discord, I think maybe like 2 people have gone for Forest as their tied on the last man standing. So yeah, we'll see how that one goes. Sell Ekatike plus Alderente for Strand Larson plus Timber, or just do Cherky down to Saar, save the extra transfer, or -4 for it all. This is the thing. I don't think I personally would want to sell Ekatike. I probably wouldn't, given the fixtures that Liverpool have got coming up. But I understand it, like if it gets you that extra Arsenal spot for this week, because that for me would be the priority. Otherwise, it would be then maybe suggesting looking at other alternative players you can get in there for Cherky, for example. Like maybe you take a punt on one of the midfield options, like a Madueke or something like that, just to get you the Arsenal spots that you need. Also considering Armstrong from Wolves for Krupi. This is the thing, right? If people are looking at Wolves players for the double game week, yes, they have a double this game week. And yes, the first fixture, I think they could maybe get something out of it. But then they've got Arsenal in the second week. The second game, sorry, of the week. Like, I don't think that for me personally, they're going to be like, they're going to get anything out of that game. So you're pretty much just relying on a single game week fixture and then taking the appearance point. Then you've also got to deal with these guys in game week 31 where they blank. So in essence, you're just basically getting an extra fixture which is up against Arsenal anyway, which isn't the best fixture. And I doubt many players are going to get decent returns out of that game anyway. So for me, bringing in the Wolves players doesn't really make sense. Hi, mate. Should I bench Krupi or Keane? Ooh. I think with some of the comments that Moyes made around Branthwaite and rotation, I would be maybe expecting a Keane benching, but every time I thought this season, he still managed to play. So I probably would go with Krupi on that one, just for the safety and just for the security. I actually think I probably would go Roofs on that one. Someone asked me this earlier in the chat, and I did say I think he could be a really good option for this week. Sunderland, the only unbeaten side at home in the Premier League. So, yeah, I probably would go with him. The way they play as well, they just love to like just concede like shots. So he's going to get plenty of like save volume as well. And if it is like a 0-0 or a 1-0 scummy win for Sunderland, then he could come away with a very, very decent score. Playing 3-5-2, which two do I pick amongst Mook, Gahey, Tark, and Cash? I would probably go. I think Cash would be all right this week, and I probably would go with Gahey. Yeah, they're probably the two I would go with there. Charles Senesi or Delo, choose one. To play this week, I probably want to play Delo, right? Yeah, I probably want to play Delo. Gabriel, Timber, or Zubamendi for TC. I probably would go with Gabriel. Is it madness to triple captain Declan Rice? Definitely not. It's a perfectly fine thing to say if you want to go for that. Yeah. I think with Reece James, obviously his illness, I would probably go with Delo on that one. Tarkowski to Munoz for a free. This is the thing. I don't hate it because the next fixtures he could really go nuclear. And if he matches what he did earlier in the season, I think it'd be like you'd be looking at 30 points across the next 2 fixtures you could get from him if he matched what he did earlier in the season. The problem then is adjusting to that blanking game week 31. And if you've already got a lot of players blanking in that game week, it means over the next few weeks you've either got to be really cautious with your transfers or, like I said, looking to take some minuses as well. Definitely TC this week. Yeah, I'm going with the TC for this week. Am I mad? Sorry, wanting to take a punt on Havertz? Probably. Like I said, any of the Arsenal attackers for me don't really make it in the list because they're just so hard to call. Who's going to see the minutes? Who's going to get the value? So team value is just all of your players' value added up. So, for example, like Gabriel, I've got a lot of value built into him. So I bought him for maybe like 6.4 or whatever. And now he's up to 7.1. So that's kind of the value that I've got out of him. So it's just adding all the players up. That's it. There you go. Who do I support? I support Mansfield Town. That is the team for me. Is Semenyo good for the future? He's getting 90 minutes. Yeah, I think he's still a pretty good option to go for. Like, they have the blank in 31, but for the next few weeks, he is a really, really good pickup to go for. Especially this week. If we bring up, we've not spoke about the model much, so let's speak about the model. Let's clear all of this. Select all of this. So yeah, here's the model for this week then. So obviously Gabriel top, Rice second, Timber third for game week 25. Haaland still up there as well. I mean, it is a good fixture. I think if this was just a single game week, we'd all definitely be considering taking a look at him. Then Raya, Saliba, Zubamendi, a few people have been asking about him. Quite high on this list, 7th for this week in terms of predicted points. So, I mean, if you fancy it, why not? Calafiori, Bruno, Trossard, Eze, and Buemo still a great pickup for this week. Semenyo, a few people have asked me about moving him on. 6.9 projections for this week. Munoz on here as well with 6.6. Could be a tasty one. Saw with 6.3 above Enzo Fernandez for this week. Bowen all the way up at 6 as well. Like I said, his points per game are absolutely ridiculous. And one of the main reasons that the model loves him is because, like I said, his points per game are decent. He's got penalty share as well. So that is why the model is quite high up on him. I also like the look of Bruno Guimaraes. Now, I know the Newcastle fixtures are a little bit spotty over the next few weeks. So, yeah, they're a little bit spotty, but he's still, with those penalties now, is going to be a real pick that I think a lot of people are going to go for. Great fixture in blank game week 31 as well. I don't live in Mansfield anymore. I moved. So, yeah, there you go. Unfortunately, I don't live in Mansfield anymore. Is my camera blurry? I can't really tell if it's blurry or it's just the light being a bit weird. Hall to Calafiori for free or Wilson to Rice for a -4. I probably would just do the Hall to Calafiori one. Hey, Tom, want to play Chow, Senesi, or Delo? I probably would go with Delo on that one. Yeah, I probably would go with Delo. Who takes Arsenal's penalties if Saka and Odegaard aren't playing? It's Gokeres. It's Gokeres. There you go. Simple as that. Gyok is your man. Of course, if you're enjoying today's stream, make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you're hitting the subscribe button as well. We are on that road to 30,000 subscribers, and it is only possible with your amazing support as always on the channel, guys. So, yeah, do keep the likes coming in, keep the questions coming in as well. One for potentially people looking at maybe looking to bring in Strand Larson. something that could mud that, and also probably muds the appeal of Saar a little bit, in my opinion, if he's not going to have penalties. Jean-Philippe Mateta won't be involved, but the good news is he doesn't need surgery. So that suggests to me that he could be back at some point this season. Maybe even after the FA Cup break, we might see Mateta back in. This week, yeah, fine, whatever. But for me, that probably devalues Saar a little bit, like he's not got the penalties. Also really devalues Strand Larsen as a complete pick. If they're saying Mateta's not going to need surgery and could be back, then for me, that rules out Strand Larsen as a pick. Hey, Andy, welcome back to the chat. I hope you're doing good, man. Hope you are doing good. Let's have a look what other injuries we've got. What else have we got here? Xhaka's still out for the game against Liverpool. Just trying to see if there's anything else. Yeah, it doesn't look like anything else. That's about it. I used my first TC on Haaland versus Tottenham. Really hope this works. Let's wait and see. Hey Tom, would you start James Hill or Maguire or Evan Nielsen? I'd be tempted to go with Evan Nielsen this week. Yeah, I think he looked really sharp the other day as well. Yeah. I guess if you only need him for a short term, then that is fine. But if you are expecting him to be a long-term pick, if Mateta is not going for the surgery, probably dampens that mood a little bit. And yeah, probably not the move I would be making now. Do you think a transfer of Enzo for Palmer is worth or just a waste? I think it's personally just a waste. How come João Pedro wasn't on that list? He's got a minutes multiplier. That's pretty much it. Like I put one on him because, like I said, he never plays 90. He just doesn't. It just doesn't happen for João Pedro. Like I think he will probably start the game, but yeah, that's probably why he's not featuring there. I would put Enzo in ahead of Bowen for me. Thoughts on Marc Cucurella? He's all right. Like if he's in the predicted lineups, then you should be good to go. Haven't seen them from Jump the Wave today. I'll take a look if Jump the Wave has done the predicted lineups for this week. Let's have a goosey. Jump the Wave. Let's have a look. Oh, why does it never come up? There we go. Nothing as of yet has come up for Jump the Wave, but I'll keep you guys informed if they do post before the deadline. Hi Tom, can't decide between Dubravka and Kelleher this week. I think I would personally go Dubravka. Yeah. Gordon and VVD out to DeLoan and Buemo. Thoughts? Yeah, don't mind that. Hey, if Andy's saying it, and Andy absolutely loves Rice as well. Chalobah or Gahey? For this week, I'd rather play Chalobah. Start Cash over KDH. Nah, I probably would go KDH. Gahey to Munoz and then a -4 Rice to Zub. I don't think you need to do the. Why would you do the -4? That for me doesn't really fit the bill for me, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not feeling that. Hi, what do you think about captaining Gyökeres over Gabriel? It's one of those where I can't guarantee his minutes. If you fancy it and think it's going to be a fun and differential pick, then go for it. I think he will be a big enough differential where you won't need to give him the armband. And I think just his unsecurity around minutes probably would be enough for me to put it off as well. And Die for Saw, yeah, don't mind that as a move. I know Ndie's been quite frustrating in recent weeks. I'm TCing Gabriel. He's going to be the player that we're going for this week. Evan Nielsen or Harry? Harry who? Harry Hill? Come on. Who are you going for? We're approaching 150 likes on today's stream, by the way, guys. If you do enjoy the content, make sure you are hitting that like button. It is really appreciated. I would go Evan Nielsen. Keep or sell Calvert-Lewin. If sell, who for? I don't think there's really anybody that I would be absolutely gagging to buy within the cheap striker market. So I would personally just stick with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. His minutes are good. He's on penalties. You just rotate him in and out. Done. Is Sobo plus Talk to Zubamendi and Timber worth the -4? I mean, it is the double game week, so I'm probably going to go yes on that one. This is like the only best moment to do TCs because in 33, the free hit or bench boost will be much more appropriate to go for, yeah. Rodgers to Rice. I mean, Rodgers has got some pretty decent fixtures coming up, so yeah. Yeah, I personally wouldn't do Zuby for Rice for a minus. That for me just feels very sideways and not worth doing. The only problem I would have with Strand Larson is the fact that Mateta isn't going for surgery. So we might see him back potentially for the next game week. Because remember, there's an FA Cup game in between these rounds. So, you know, Palace aren't playing in there. He's got plenty of time to get himself fit and back in training. So, yeah. Get Munoz or Rodgers. I would rather probably have Rodgers. Yeah. Are you going the TC? I am. Krupi or Thiago? If I had to pick right now, I probably would play Thiago ahead of Krupi. I don't like benching penalty takers. If you've watched this channel for a long time, you know that is the standard line that I give to people. That is always the standard line I give to people is never bench penalty takers. Hi, mate. Start Tarkowski or Hill? Ooh, I probably would back the home team on that one. I reckon I probably would go with Tarkowski. Bournemouth, interestingly, have conceded a lot of goals away from home. I believe they are still or might even still be the number one side for goals conceded away from home. So, yeah, I probably would go with Tarkowski on that one. Keane to Saliba and then a -4 VVD to Munoz. I don't necessarily feel you need to do the -4. I haven't seen anything on Saka or any updates regarding Saka, so I probably would assume no, he's probably not going to feature in game week 26. Am I taking a -4? I'm pretty confident the -4 will be happening. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the -4 I will be taking with my side. Play Ekatike or Krupi. I go Ekatike. I'll play Dubravka ahead of a Bergen this week. My captain is Madueke. Fair. Like, I do feel like one of these Arsenal attackers probably could go big in the double game week. It is just trying to find it's honestly trying to find which one is to go for because the minutes are just so uncertain that it does make it really difficult. Start Mane over and Buemo/Enzo. Oh, that's a toughie. Even though he's got the double game week, I'm still tempted to say no just because those two have got great fixtures this week. I'd just probably play Chow. Like Mane in for Gui doesn't really feel worthwhile because yes, you get the double this week, but one of the games is against Arsenal, and then you've got to factor in that you've got a blank to deal with in 31, so it's a further transfer down the line for that one. What do I think about Havertz? It's pretty much the same stance I've got on all the Arsenal attackers. Is I wouldn't pick any of them because I don't know who's going to start this game. Then you might be thinking, oh right, well they started this game. Maybe then they go straight into the Wigan game. Then you're going, crap, they're not playing the better fixture. So yeah. I feel like TC is going to be a very popular week for people going with the triple captaincy. Yeah, I really do. Looking at the poll in the chat here, we've got 65% of you are thinking about going with the TC on Gabriel this week, and we've had 1,000 votes. So yeah, I think it's probably going to be that way. The South Coast runner, Jake, hope you're doing good, man. Another one of the FPL Cartel members. Of course, if you want to get your team rated by me or ask any questions, then make sure you are coming over to the FPL Cartel. Yeah, you'll be able to see the team reviews there and stuff like that. There'll be literally a section, if anybody's unsure how to use it, there'll be a section that literally says like deadline, and then you put your team in there for our bit. Like there'll be a bit that literally says like Tom, FPL Tom stream. There you go. Boom, done. Fair enough. Like he is the leading defender for non-penalty XGI. But Gabriel's points per start are absolutely ridiculous, by the way. 7.4 points per start is a joke. It is a joke. Do keep your questions coming in, guys. Obviously, like I said, we'll be live till around about 4 o'clock. Thank you for the promo and the plug there, mate. Do appreciate it. Jake has obviously been in there, I think, for maybe 2 or 3 months now. Like you've been in there a good while. Yeah, we've got a good community, good little community going off in there as well. I like it. Am I not scared from a goal from Brentford? Of course. If you're always captaining a centre back, that is always going to be running through your mind. And Brentford are very good at home. They've only lost 2 home games this season. But yeah, like maybe Gabriel just gets a goal involvement from that one. Maybe that's all he gets from that game. Yeah. This is it. Like if Gabby gets a clean sheet, a goal, DEFCON, full bonus, it is worth it already. And if that happens in the Brentford game, then we've got the Wolves game coming up and he just gets a clean. We are absolutely laughing with that one. We're only one like off 150 on today's stream. So if you are enjoying it, make sure you are hitting that like button. It is really appreciated, like I said. Fair. Makes sense. I transferred in Lawson for Evanilson and Madueke in for Wilson. Should I be worried? No, I think you'll be fine. Roofs over Dubravka for me this week. I do feel like he could, to be honest, go for it. Is Zubamendi guaranteed the full 90 minutes? Let's have a look. See what minute he's been playing. 90, bench, 58, 90, 79. I probably could see him playing both games. Yeah, I could see him definitely starting both games. Would you play Wilson over Senesi? I think I would personally prefer probably to maybe play Senesi, but I think given Bournemouth's poor away record, especially with goals conceded, would be tempted to give Wilson the nod on that one. Yeah, I would be tempted to do it. I can use my Madueke. I can use my triple captain on Madueke. It is a big gamble, and I can't guarantee that he starts both games. I think they said the Tottenham game, so not going to be involved in probably double game week 26 is a safe assumption, I would say, for that one. Yeah, that would be personally my safe assumption is he's probably not going to be available for both of them. Start 2 of these Anderson, Mane, Ekatike. I personally think I would go Anderson and Mane. But Ekitike could really go off and beat the double game week player. But I think for safety in terms of floor numbers, Anderson and Mane will be the ones. What percentage is it? I think it's 70% that City will have a double. So it's still quite high. Still quite high. That could happen. Yeah, still quite high. Start 2 out of Mane, Ekitike, Semenyo, and Enzo. I mean, for me personally, I'm looking at Semenyo and Enzo to start there. Yeah. I genuinely think Mane could just get 4 points and that's about it. Like, he is just the basic safety, isn't he? Him and Anderson there are just the safety picks. Start on Buemo or Krupi and Buemo every single day of the week on that one. Yeah. Like I said, we could really, really get some mega scores this game week just because we've got some great single game week fixtures in there as well. Losing 4 points to get Timber for triple Arsenal, Tarkowski, Timber. And I think like if I'm taking a -4 and it's getting me the triple Arsenal in for the double game week, I'm kind of for it because they could do well across this double. Yeah, I think Tom's obviously in the Discord as well with me. So if you do want to come and chat to Tom, he is in the Discord. I know he's at work today, so no deadline stream from him. Who should I play, Senesi or Mane? I think you go the double game week player there, Mane. I think go Gabriel before you get back to work. Go for it. Yeah, go Gabriel before you get back to work. Hey Tom, any plans on Pickford? He's about to head into some really tough fixtures. No plans. Like, I'm not wasting a transfer on a goalkeeper. He really could just absolutely smash it over the next few weeks. If I was to build a double game week team, a free hit for this double game week, Timber, Gabriel, Rice would be in there. I probably would be tempted then put Jose Sarr in goal, maybe a Mane, maybe an Armstrong up front. I'd obviously have Haaland. I'd have Bruno Fernandes. I'd see if I could get Mbuemo in there. I maybe would take a punt on like a João Pedro as well. And then maybe like a Munoz. Those would be the kind of the rough outlines of a free hit team I would probably go for this week. But personally, don't use it. We're going to get either a big double in 33 or we're going to get a blank in game week 31 or in 34. So they're going to be the better weeks to use it, in my opinion. Dewsbury Hall is so clear of Mainu, is unbelievable. Yeah. I personally start Chalobah. His points per game are absolutely ridiculous. You could go with Timber as your captain if that's the way you're feeling. Please don't spam in the chat though, or you will be booted. Yeah, Mane, like I said, it's a 4 probably you're gonna get out of him. I do have an option to potentially sell Rice on next week. We could very easily sell him on to like a maybe a Bruno Guimaraes, but it's not buying into the ideal fixture. So I might just keep Rice for a few more weeks. And then, like I said, probably look to move to a Bruno Guimaraes, maybe a Semenyo if he continues to do the goods as well. I am muting that guy for spamming. Jesus. Get out of here. See you later, pal. What if I TC Mane? I would probably be expecting maybe 12 points then. Cheers, Jamie. Appreciate that, mate. Oh, nice. Decent then. That's all right then. Would you buy Florian Wirtz? Yeah, I think he could be a decent pickup over the next few weeks as well. Yeah, that guy got absolutely he got sandwiched, didn't he, there by the mods. Absolutely sandwiched by the mods. There's obviously the reason that Haaland might not get a double game week further down the line. And by that point in the season as well, we could see City already out of the title race, fully focus on Champions League and FA Cup football. Like that could be, they've got obviously Premier League wrapped up. Premier League they're out of. They've got top four wrapped up, so they're then just putting all their eggs in kind of, the Champions League and FA Cup baskets. And Haaland, like I said, might even be rotated around that double game week. What we've got right now here is a good opportunity in front of us. It's a double game week. I'm expecting Gabriel to play both games. And yeah, that's probably the way I would go on it. I would definitely start Watkins and Buemo ahead of Mane. Yeah, I really would. I don't know why you would want to bench Bruno. Yeah, I 100% he's got to start. Bruno Guimaraes has got to start in that team. Easy. Best three Man City picks going forward is probably going to be Haaland, Semenyo, and then I personally don't probably think there is another one right now. Maybe Gahey, but I mean his DEFCON numbers have really fallen off a little bit, so yeah, probably not even him. Somerville, I think his opportunity is come and gone. Like the fixtures for West Ham now do get a bit more difficult, so I feel like his opportunities have come and gone for me personally. Thoughts on Watkins? Yeah, he could be a decent option. We spoke about the fact that Brighton as well are the fifth worst or fifth best side at goals conceded. Fifth probably best goals conceded from forwards. So yeah, he could be one that could really explode over the next few weeks. Hi Tom, might have missed it, but who would you sell ahead of game week 31 first for who, Rice or Timber? I probably would be more tempted with Rice, just because I think we'll have other midfield options that will really start to come to the forefront around those weeks. The Rodgers fixtures are looking really good. We might also want a Bruno Guimaraes, given the fact that the fixture in game week 31 is also pretty decent as well. We've also obviously got Bruno Fernandes and Buemo, Semenyo. I think there's just more options to pick within the midfield option that we might want to go for. Do obviously keep your questions coming in, guys. Anything you want to know ahead of the deadline, do let me know and we'll try and answer as many questions as we can, obviously, before we wrap up. Before 4 o'clock, I think that's when we said we were going to wrap up. So, yeah. Somerville or Thiago to start? Oh, that's a toughie. I think just given the form that Somerville is in, I probably would give him the nod. I don't think United have won at West Ham since 2021 either, so maybe a little bit of a bogey ground for them. Should I do Rice for Rodgers or Wirtz? Further down the line, yes, probably not this week. Hi, Tom. Would you suggest Mateus Nunes, Lacroix, or any other defender of your choice? I think Hill, for the value that he is at 3.9, is exceptionally good value with the fixtures coming up. Obviously, Senesi as well at 4.6 could also be pretty decent as well. Brentford have some great fixtures. They're the ones that I think a lot of people will be, of course, looking to go for. I think my Enzo replacement might be Dango Otara. That's the midfielder I might go for my Enzo replacement. Kanate, Thiago, Mane, Dubravka. How about this for a bench boost? Not the worst in the world. Like, genuinely not the worst in the world, but I think there are going to be better opportunities for a bench boost, in my opinion. Yeah. Fair. If you want to do it. But for me, I don't think it's worth the -4. Yeah. Start Thiago or Hill? Start Thiago, Hill, or Wilson this week, Tom? I personally would probably go either Wilson or Thiago. Probably would be where my head would be at. I think just given Bournemouth's ability to concede goals away from home would probably be the reason that it would be put off Hill. So yeah, fair enough. If you're thinking TC on Rice, then go for it. Yeah, I'm going with the TC on Gabriel. I think a lot of people are as well. Looking at the polls, 64% of you are going for the TC on it as well. I think Bowen could be fine. Like, realistically, if there are no other strong options you want to go for, I think he could be a completely fine role. If you've not got Thiago, I would maybe suggest keeping Bowen for one more week and then looking to, of course, bring in Thiago the week after. Given the fixtures that Brentford have got coming up, I think that, for me, makes the way to go, to be honest. I think if you want to probably stay inside the top 100k, I would be trying to get Gabriel in. Yeah, I really think I probably would be trying to get Gabriel in at all costs. Hi, Tom. I have Ramiro, Waltemada, Cherky. Oh, my days. I think you're probably going to be taking a -4. I mean, that team seems dreadful. Waltemada, like, there's a lot of bad picks in there. So, yeah, you're probably looking at a -4 realistically, mate, this week to really sort that team out. Maybe, honestly, maybe even pulling the trigger on a wild card might even be not the worst option, or looking at a free hit for this week because, yeah, that does seem like a right mess, that team. Start one from Van Heck, DCL, and Anderson. But I'd be actually tempted to play DCL in that one. Yeah. Would you keep or sell Watkins? I would keep him, given the fixtures that Villa have got coming up, given the fact that Brentford have got Brighton, sorry, have got such a poor record for goals from forwards as well. I think I would probably keep Watkins for this week. They've got obviously Leeds and Wolves the week after as well. Yeah. Who's talking about Bowen being injured? I would like to know who these people are. Start KDH or Mbuemo all the way, mate, on that one. Yeah. Mbuemo all the way, baby. Start one between Tarkowski and Krupi. I probably would go Tarkowski. Thank you for the super chat, man. Really do appreciate that. Rice and Van der Ven out for Timber, TC, and Saar. Need to do something different to game rank. Already have Gabriel and Raya. I like both the moves you've suggested. Yep, I think that's great. And if that's where you want to put the TC as well, go for it. Yeah, like both the moves you suggest. I'm feeling that one. There will be another bigger one in 33. However, we might not get, that's probably where most of us will look to play a bench boost or a free hit potentially in those weeks. Then we might not get one in 36, so we might not actually have another opportunity to use the triple captain. That's why most are playing it this week. -4 Van Heck to Timber and Sobo to Anderson. Don't hate that. Yeah, don't hate that as a -4. You think Gibbs White will be a differential this week? No. His predicted points are pretty much like the same as Elliot Anderson. He no longer has penalties either, so I personally wouldn't look to go for it. I know it's a great fixture this week up against his former club. He might do well, but as a long-term pick, I just don't see the appeal of it for me personally. Oh, that is quite a reliable source. So maybe Bowen could be injured for this week. Maybe then that's enough to pull the trigger. If we get more confirmation closer to the deadline that it is going to be Bowen out, then maybe that's enough confirmation for people to potentially pull the trigger this week. No, I personally would just probably leave Garner. Yeah, I personally probably would just leave Garner for this week. Obviously, any questions you guys have got, let me know in the comment section. We'll try and answer as many as we possibly can this week. We'll try, like I said, we'll try and get around to as many as we can as well. I know we've got a lot of people asking a lot of different questions as well, but we will try. Apparently, Bowen is injured, according to a pretty reliable source for West Ham news. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. I'm going to have a look if he's actually tweeted anything. Although then I've not seen anything on his Twitter. Yeah, I've not really seen anything on his Twitter, to be honest. He said it's all made up and all the players have been photoed in training. So maybe it's just bollocks with the looks of it. Yeah, I'm not seeing the tweet, to be honest, so it looks like it could be absolute BS. So yeah, there you go. What do I think of Dewsbury Hall? Completely fine and a very good value pick as well for his money. Yeah, I saw that, and then someone else has said that they've been pictured in training and it's been disputed. Please don't spam in the chat, mate, or you will be ejected. And there we go. You've got your ejection. Best cheap defenders in the game. Can you name 2 to 3? Yeah, I obviously think Hill is probably the standout with the fixtures coming up at 3.9 million. Very good value for what you're getting. I don't mind Rodon. I think the fixtures, though, there are a little bit more difficult, to be honest. So, yeah. Other than that, I'm trying to think what other players we've really got at the cheap price. Maguire from United could also be a pretty decent bet. Richards as well at 4.4. Also pretty steady as well. Yeah, this is the thing as well. I think that's also a great point. Like I said, if when we get later in the season, the title might already be wrapped up as well. So we might be in a position where actually Haaland doesn't even look that good an option and might not even play both the games if City even get, like I said, that double game week further down the line. Yeah, TC Gabriel, very template, but again, the template always forms for a reason, to be honest. A lot of people are looking at Zubamendi this week. I think he's all right for his price point, but I wouldn't be expecting the world from him. Yeah, what's his DEFCON numbers like? Let's have a look. Zubamendi, are you hitting DEFCON? Is the big question, mate. Let's have a look. Every now and again he hits it, but past 2 games, not close. Yeah, they're all right. He might hit DEFCON. I reckon you probably would be expecting maybe 6 to 8 if there are no attacking returns from him. I think that's about fair. Obviously, in terms of my transfers that I'm thinking this week, we are looking at potentially taking a -4, bringing in Morgan Rogers and bringing in Hill for Chow. That is kind of where my head is at for that one. So yeah, there we go. That is the moves that I'm currently thinking. A -4 this week. It sets the team up really, really good long term as well. So I think I'm 95% sure I'm going to do it as well. Yeah. Is Mane okay for the double game week? He's fine. I wouldn't be expecting anything really from him, to be honest. And like I said, then he's a further transfer down the line that you're going to have to deal with in blank game week 31. So yeah, there you go. But yeah, this is the team that I've got, and it would require me to take a -4. But like I said, I think it really does put the team in a very decent position. We've got the 3 strikers that I think a lot of people will want for game week 27. The midfield is absolutely stacked as well. So I don't mind it. Strand Larson could be okay, but like we've just seen the news that Mateta is not going for surgery, so that means he will be back at some point. He could even be back next as well. What do I think about Szoboszlai to Saar from Palace? I don't mind that, but again, for me, it then just puts more transfers that I've got to save or bank over the next few weeks to bringing in another player. So that's the only reason I've gone against it. And he's also probably going to lose penalty appeal after this week as well. Do you think triple Arsenal defence counters the TC on Gabriel at some level, or do you think it doesn't work that way? Again, Gabriel might have just an amazing individual performance. Like he could just get a goal, an assist. He could just absolutely smash it out of the park and not even get a clean sheet. So I think they're two different things. Is it mad to triple captain Rice? No, I think Rice is a perfectly acceptable option if you don't fancy going for a centre back. Defcon set piece share. Probably should have scored at the weekend. Tolkowski or Gahey? I'd rather play probably Gahey this week. I mean, Zubamendi is scoring a lot of goals off absolutely niche. So yeah. Do you think it's fine selling Szoboszlai? Yeah, he's playing right back. It's not like he's playing as the number 10 for this Liverpool side, hitting defensive contributions, has penalty share. He no longer has the penalty share, so that drops him down. He, of course, is just playing as the right back. He's suspended for this week as well. So he's fine to hold on to if you can this week. But for me personally, I would rather want Rodgers in for the next 3 weeks. He's more like a talismanic profile, and I think could go off in the next few weeks, given the fixtures that he's got. Really, would you sell Virgil to Munoz? As long as I've not got too many transfers to deal with in 31, again, could be completely fine to go for. I think I'd probably rather go Thiago on that one. Yeah, I probably would go Thiago on that one. What about Enzo? What about him? Like, he's still a good pick for the next 2 weeks. He's still a good pick. Don't sell him just because of one blank. He's still a good pick. I think Gyökeres will be a fine differential. I don't think you need to necessarily go with him for the captaincy. I personally think you could just probably roll. I don't think you necessarily need to make that move. Yeah, I think that's one of those where you probably, if you're not going to play him anyway, you might as well just not make the move, in my opinion. What are the odds of you getting 100 plus points this weekend? My model has me at 96.2. So there's a good opportunity with a triple captaincy that we could very easily get into the top 100s. Yeah, I think, look, if Gabriel goes off, that could be most of the team. And there's a lot of decent single game week fixtures out there as well. I'd rather start and die for me, penalty appeal. So, yeah. I think Gahey's minutes are fine. City still are without Gvardiol. Diaz is back in, so the partnership will be Gahey and Diaz. I would probably take a punt on an Arsenal attacker rather than Zubamendi. Brentford have conceded the most goal involvements to strikers in the league. Wolves the 5th most. So, one of the forwards is going to pop off this double game week. Is just trying to find out which one it will be. Ekatike and Wilson for Strand Larson and Buemo. Probably not for me. I'm not feeling that necessarily. Arsenal have also conceded their most goals have come against strikers, and he is a penalty taker. So there you go. But if you want to play Mook, look, it's a home fixture. Sunderland are absolute beasts at home as well, so I don't hate it. Salah is still the penalty taker for Liverpool. I wouldn't do it for a -4, no. I probably would if you top of the mini league. Probably means you're in a decent position in terms of rank. So yeah, I probably would. Would you go for Havertz? Again, any of the attackers are probably not for me just because of the minutes and security. Is it risky not captaining Gabriel? Yes. he will probably be, I reckon, maybe like 160, 170% effective ownership, just purely because the amount of people that are going to be TCing him. He was already at like 95 this week, and most people went either Bruno or Haaland. Like dead teams went Haaland, and Gage probably went Bruno. So you factor in he's probably going to be the most captain player this week. Then you probably factor in that people are going to also be triple captain him. He will be very high 100s this week for me. Yeah, very high 100s. Do keep your questions coming in, guys. Anything you want to know ahead of the deadline, do let me know. Make sure you are liking today's stream. Like I said, it does push it out to more people. And let's see if we can get up to 200 likes on today's stream. It would be great if we could do that. So if you haven't already, make sure you are hitting that like button. Like I said, it is really appreciated as always. And yeah, obviously, like I said, we'll be live till about 4 o'clock. So we'll keep the good times rolling. All right, keep the good times rolling. Keep the questions coming in. And we'll work our way through them. Bench, please. Calvert-Lewin, Wilson, Mook, Rondon, Tarkowski, Thiago. I probably would bench Rodon. How many do you need to bench? 3 here. Rodon, Wilson, and Thiago probably would be the 3 I would bench. It's close between probably Thiago, Mook, and Calvert. Yeah, those would probably be the ones. Bench Watkins, Cash, or Chalobah. Probably Cash for me. Start 1 from Van Heck, DCL, or Anderson. I'd be tempted to go to DCL there, you know. Who has the highest ceiling? Thiago. Floor is Anderson. So yeah, I'd probably go that one. Should I triple captain Gabriel? I think it's a great week to go for it. Start 1, Senesi, Thiago, Wilson, Brobby. Either probably for me, Senesi or Thiago would be the ones I would go for there. Bench Thiago or Tarkowski, probably bench Thiago. Thoughts on transferring Semenyo to Rodgers? I would personally leave Semenyo. I think he's a fantastic pick to have this week as well. Am I going to play the TC? Yes, I'm going to play the TC. Is Wilson still a keep? There's some good fixtures coming up for Wilson. Not the easiest fixture this week, but he's still going to be a player you want to keep, to be honest. So yeah. Bench Thiago or Tarkowski. I would bench Thiago. So yeah. Oh, a spam. Spam. That's getting. Yeah, there we go. Boom. Out egos of the channel. Boom. Please don't spam, guys. I will try and answer as many questions as I can. There is no need to spam. Obviously, if you put a massive paragraph, it does make things a lot harder for me to see. There's like 400 of you in here. So just take your time, put concise, clear messages, and we can work for as many as we possibly can. Chow to Richards and Miley to Ryan. I heard he have triple Arsenal and Haaland. I kind of rate that. Yeah, I kind of rate that. I like both those moves. He could be a really, really fun pick with some of the Bournemouth fixtures coming up as well. Is Saw or Ndiaye good picks? I think Saw is probably the better one. I think Everton's fixtures really do get a little bit difficult over the next few. Should I play Mane or Anderson? I'd play Mane this week ahead of Anderson. Mate, surely there's got to be somebody else you can bench other than Enzo and Semenyo. Both got great fixtures this week. Both should be doing pretty well as well, in my personal opinion. Take a -4 to replace Roofs. No, I think he actually could do quite well this week. I really, really do. Long-term DCL or Bowen. Both have got pretty iffy fixtures over the next few weeks, and I think DCL, just because of his price point, is probably the better longer-term pick. Would you play Thiago or make a -4 on him for a defender to play? I personally wouldn't take him out, given the fixtures he's got next week coming up. So yeah, I would probably keep him, to be honest. Jamal has sent his team in for review, so let's go and have a look at that. Like I said, guys, if you do want to get your team reviewed by me, head over to the FPL Cartel Discord. I'm going to spam that in link there. Come and sign up, and you can get your team reviewed by me. And then come over to the FPL Tom stream section in the deadline section, and that is where you leave your teams for review. He says, hi, Tom. I have 2.5 million in the bank with 2 free transfers. I'm tempted to bring in Munoz in place of O'Reilly, but doesn't give me the flexibility I need for the moves I'm planning in Game Week 27, Game Week 28. Would you roll, or do you think it's an opportunity to dump on Palace assets no matter what? I personally think if it denies you building your ideal team and limits your moves further down the line, I would personally probably look to just roll. That would honestly be my advice, is roll. I know Munoz could be a really fun and exciting pick over the next few weeks, but he's still quite low owned. He's not somebody that's really going to damage your rank. Yes, he would be a nice differential, but for me personally, I probably would roll. And like you said, if it helps you set up your team for further weeks by rolling this week, that is probably the move I would prefer to make heading into this game week. Like I said, guys, if you do want to come and get your team reviewed, the link is the pinned comment, or of course, in the description as well. Let's head back to the stream and answer some more questions as well. I have a benching dilemma between Ekatike and Calvert-Lewin, who to bench. I would play Ekatike this week. Will João Pedro start? I reckon he will. And who do I play from Enzo and Semenyo? Surely you want all of them playing, right, though? I'd want Enzo, I'd want João Pedro, I'd want genuinely all of those players playing. Would you start looking at Munoz again? Yeah, I think he could be a decent pickup. There's some really good fixtures, especially the next few for Crystal Palace. So yeah, he could be a decent one. Mane or Pedro or Gyökeres? I mean, Gyökeres for me. Even if he's, sometimes a little bit iffy with his minutes, the teams that they're playing are really vulnerable from strikers. So yeah, I think he could be a nice option. Keep or sell Somerville? I probably would give him one more week, but then I think, we're going to start looking at our Dangos. They're probably going to be more exciting picks over the next few weeks where you could go to. Dango Otara, yeah, at his price point of 5.8, could be a player that a lot of FPL managers are clambering towards over the next few weeks. And I do think he could be a very nice, tidy option to go for. So yeah, I like Dango Otara. Yeah, he could be a good one. What do you think about Van Heck to Munoz and Szoboszlai to Sarr? Don't hate either of those moves. You've taken out a player that's a little bit of a risk, and of course a player that is suspended for getting in two pretty nice players for this week. So yeah, I'm a fan of that. Should I do Chow to Munoz for a -4? Probably wouldn't. Should I start Mane or sell Tarkowski for Munoz? I'd just start Mane. Do I keep Wirtz in or transfer for Enzo? I would keep Wirtz in for that one, mate. Yeah, I'd keep Wirtz in for that one. Dango or Sarr? I mean, Sarr's got the next two that are better, but longer term, I probably would prefer Dango. Like, once you can get past the Arsenal game, so probably not a buy this week, but after this week, some good fixtures and a great fixture in blank game week 31 as well. So yeah, that's probably how I would roll on that one. Obviously, guys, if you do have any questions, do keep them coming in. We'll be live till about 4 o'clock. Then we'll, of course, let all the big boys go and do their thing as usual. I personally wouldn't look to triple captain any single game week players this week. I think your whole focus should be looking at going with a double game week player. Best replacement for Wilson, I think it's either you look at Dango Otara next week, an Elliot Anderson, a Kieran Dewsbury Hall. If you've got the money to stretch up, there could be other options that do find themselves interesting, maybe like a Sarr, but yeah, that's probably where I would go. Mook, Chow, Tarkowski, choose one to play. I probably would go Tarkowski on that one. I personally would roll this week. I'd leave Tarkowski and Gardner. I don't really see any... The players that you're looking to bring in there, I don't think they have a better fixture this week, so I probably would leave it for me personally. Would you TC Timber? He's also a fine option. I think any of the Arsenal players that are in my side, Rice, Timber, Gabriel, are all decent TC opportunities this week. I'd rather play Mane ahead of Anderson this week. I think I would rather back the double game week player than one of the players that has the better floors, for me personally anyway. So yeah, that's probably the way I would go on that one. Harry Wilson's fixtures are also very good. We spoke about that earlier in the stream as well. Semenyo would be a keep this week as well. It's a great fixture, some great projected points as well. So yeah, he will be staying this week. Yep, that defense looks completely fine. Thoughts on Wilson to Sarr? I don't mind it, but the problem is with Sarr is there is a blank in game week 31, so do be just wary of that one. Probably isn't going to be on penalties as well if it is looking likely that Mateta isn't needing surgery. So, yeah, that's the only other concern I have around that one. And Buemo's also good now. He's fine to play yet. I haven't got to worry about that. Haven't seen any further updates suggesting that he's going to be out injured or anything like that. So I personally would still stick with it. Keep your likes coming in, guys, on today's stream. Obviously, we are trying to hit 200 likes on the deadline stream. So it'd be great if, of course, we could do that. We're at 187, so I only need 13 people. But yeah, make sure you're going and smashing it out of the park as well. And only 20 more subscribers as well to hit 26.5 on today's stream, which is absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, keep the questions coming in. Is Bruno valid TC? No, not for me. You just look at a double game week player, really, to be honest. Yeah, you don't look at one. Should I take a hit for Child to Hill? Personally, I probably wouldn't. The reason I'm looking at doing the hit is it does allow me to then bring in Morgan Rogers, so it gives my team a better structure. That is honestly the only thing that I would suggest if you are looking at hits, is it does allow better structure going forward. So yeah. Is Igor Thiago essential? Not this week, but going forward, there are some great fixtures and, of course, has a blank in game week 31. And he is a player that just starts every single week and plays 90 minutes, gets penalty share as well. So he will just be an option that does tick along every single week. And he's not bad for his price point as well at 7 million. I personally wouldn't do the -4. Like Mane for me, like I said, he's probably only going to get 4 points across the double game week. Then you're going to have to take him back out of your side as well for the blank game week in 31. So isn't really worth the transfer for an asset that for me feels like he's probably only going to get 4 points this week. If you've got him this week, play him. But otherwise, yeah, he's not worth a transfer. None of the Wolves players are, in my opinion. Bench one, KDH, Rogers, or Enzo. I probably bench KDH there. Like, yeah, I probably do. I think Rogers and Enzo, just given their ownership, could do some real damage if they do go off. Both have great fixtures this week as well, in my opinion. Rice, for me, ahead of Zubimende. Is Semenyo worth a sell for Rogers? Not this week, maybe next week with, some more difficult fixtures in the next two as well. Do you think Rice can outscore Gabriel? Potentially. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see why it could go wrong. It'll probably be more likely Odegaard. If Odegaard plays, if Odegaard plays, he'll probably take them. Rice could even take them. I mean, genuinely, yeah, Rice could step up and take a penalty. I wouldn't put it past him. Would you recommend Rice as my vice triple captain? I'm going with that. Yeah, that seems to be the play for me. Am I TCing this week? Yes, I'm TCing this week. I'm just going to have a check for any team news, see what we've got kicking around. See if there's anything further floating around on the socials this week. Keep Tarkowski long term, or is it time for him because of the fixtures? I think you probably could sell him, but he has a fixture in game week 31, and if he rotates nicely with your other defenders, isn't like an immediate sell. I think you've got that nice luxury option to make this week to Daniel Munoz if you are on Tarkowski. Worth taking a hit to sell Timber for Gabriel? No, I probably wouldn't. I'd just probably leave it. Yeah, this is it. Rice is definitely, if all the other penalty takers are off the pitch, could be Rice, could be Gabby Jesus. Yeah, Gyökeres is on pens. The question was around what would happen if Gyökeres, Saka, Odegaard aren't on the pitch. That was the question. It was about what if they're not on the pitch. Should I triple captain? My rank is 40k. if you feel this is the right week for you, then yeah, I'm going with it. A lot of other clever and intelligent managers are also looking at the triple captaincy this week as well. Should I do Chow to Munoz and leave Miley on the bench? Makes sense. Yeah, I like that. Gabriel on penalties. Let's wait and see, eh? We can all dream. We can all dream. Imagine he is. Oh, that would be funny. That would be funny. I'm personally going to be looking at the bench boost in game week 33. So yeah, we need to wait and see about the FA Cup fixtures before obviously that comes into to full mode. Yeah, like it genuinely could be anyone if like Gokres or any of the other players aren't. Like it's trying to predict that is probably trying to predict, heads or tails. Like you're gonna probably, get it right if you say enough names and throw enough shit at the wall. Some of it might stick. There you go. Dubravka or Petrovic? I would probably play Dubravka this week. A man can dream. We can all dream, right? I am captaining Gabriel. That is where my captaincy is going. We only need 2 likes, by the way, to hit 200 on today's deadline stream. So yeah, if you are enjoying it, make sure you are hitting that like button. It is really appreciated, like I said. TC Zubimendi, not for me personally. I was going to look at Villa's team news, making sure that Rodgers is fit and fine. I haven't seen anything to suggest he's not. So, Fantasy Football Scout. Have we had a press conference from Unai Emery? Emery at 2 p.m. Did he say anything? I'm guessing not, or we would have found out, right? I'm gonna go on to Aston Villa's Twitter. Aston Killer, I've just put in. No, Aston Villa, please. We did the TC. We did TC yes or no. So we'll do one for. Yeah, it doesn't look like anything around Rodgers has been said, so that's fine for that one. Right, tails is going to be Gabriel. Heads is going to be Declan Rice. Okay, for the triple captainers. Are you ready? It's heads. Woo-hoo, Declan Rice. If you trust the coin, that is where the coin is going. The reason that I'm going with Gabriel this week is game week 33 will be the biggest double game week we get this season, right? So that will be more beneficial for my strategy with a wild card in 32 to set up the bench boost that game week, right? So that's why I'm going with this week, because my bench boost is going to be used that week. Game week 34 in the blank is where I'm going to then play my free hit chip. And then we might not even get another Manchester City double. Or if we do, City could already be out of the title race. They might be obviously competing still in European football. So game week 36 might not be the most appealing week. Or we could be left in a situation where we don't even get a further double for Manchester City. And like I said, could then be looking at a single game week player to put it on. What we've got right here is Gabriel, Timber, great options. I think if you've got the bench boost left, then TC this week makes the most sense. If you've not, then you can save your TC for game week 33. So I think that's probably going with it. Yeah, the holy coin is not going in our favor today, is it? It's really, really not, is it? It said Rice, it said no to TCing, and it also said no to my -4 plan as well. So, yeah, it's really not liking it, is it? It's really not liking it. Of course, guys, any questions you do have, do let me know in the comment section. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you're hitting subscribe as always as well. And we'll try and keep you guys across anything before, obviously, I do finish up at 4 o'clock. Hey, Tom, bring back the fresh fade. Would you bring in Saw or Munoz? Looking to bring in one and keep him until game week 31. I think Munoz is probably the more exciting pick for me personally. So yeah, I probably would go with him. Fresh fade. I mean, I don't live anywhere near my barber. So yeah, unfortunately, I have to wait a long time for my hair to be trimmed. But yeah, there we go. It's free anyway, so that's why we wait. I'm not paying like 30 quid for a haircut when I can get it for free. So yeah. TC, Bruno Fernandes or Palmer, you've got to be looking if you're playing the TC this week at a double game week player. Yeah. If I do Charlton Munoz, then I would end up having to play either Anderson or Miley, and he doesn't play. Play Anderson then. Like, he's just a safe, steady 4-pointer, isn't he, every single week? Would you do João Pedro for Ekatike and free money for Enzo as well for 4 transfers? Would you do João Pedro for Ekatike? I don't think I would. Like, Liverpool's fixtures all turning good. So I personally, like I said, if I've got Ekatike this week, I don't sell him, but I don't buy him either. That's kind of how I sit on Ekatike for this week. I don't buy him, but I don't sell him. So yeah, there you go. Do keep your questions coming in, guys. Anything you want to know ahead of the deadline, do let me know. Will City double in game week 33? There is a possibility that they don't even double in game week 33. If they lose in the FA Cup in the next round, which is highly unlikely given Salford is their opponent, that fixture could slide back into game week 31 because there's a free weekend where everybody else is playing FA Cup football and City wouldn't be. So there is a possibility that they don't even double. Would you play Kroupy or Hall? I think I'd probably give the nod to Kroupy. Yeah, I'd probably give the nod to Kroupy. I don't trust the coin anymore. Hey, the coin makes you do unexpected things, doesn't it? Most likely, yeah. More probable that they will double than they won't double. But there is still a world where they might not. So yeah. That world still does exist. If I've already used the bench boost, then yeah, you could save the TC for later in 33. I don't hate that as an option. I do not hate that as an option to potentially look at. Any questions you've got, guys, do keep them coming in. Obviously, we'll be live till around about 4 o'clock. And then we'll let all the big boys go and do their thing, smash it out of the park as they always do. But of course, if you've enjoyed my content, you've never seen me before, make sure you are hitting that subscribe button. Like I said, we pretty much produce a lot of content on here, shorts, long form. And yeah, we're on that road to 30,000 subscribers. Obviously, as well, we've got the TikTok absolutely smashing it. We've just hit 67,000 followers over on there. Instagram as well, we're up to 15K as well. So a lot of the socials are cooking at the moment. So if you want to come and join the party, make sure you hit and follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Yeah, I think Somerville should start, given the form that he's been in. People are asking me about Strand Larson. I think with Mateta not going for surgery, that probably kills any dream of Strand Larson for me. He could be a good short-term pick, but yeah, I would want a further update on Mateta's fitness if he's not going for this surgery. I do believe the bench boost is probably more powerful in game week 33, especially if you're setting up with the wild card in 32, because you could get a full 15 of double game week players. So yeah, that's why I think this is more powerful. Am I triple captaining Gabriel? I am. Think we're doing this -4. I'm pretty confident we're going to go for the -4. Yeah, I think I'm fairly confident. It sets me up. I know it puts us in a position where we're taking a -4, so we're already going to be on a red and having to chase. But I think it does put the team in a position where I really would like it to be going forward. So yeah. Start Chalobah or Richards. I personally still would probably go with Chalobah, but that is a tough one. That is a tough one. Hi, Tom. Who do I bench? Mane, Ek, Rogers, Bruno G, Enzo. I personally would be between Mane or Ek. I think Mane, you probably are looking at 4 points across the double game week. I don't see him scoring, to be honest. So yeah. I'm currently ranked 58 in the FPL Tom Super League. Love that, mate. Great stuff. Saving a TC for an attacker during another double game week. Fair enough. Who am I taking a -4 for? So we're taking out Chow and we are taking out Sabozlai. We're bringing in Rogers and we're bringing in Hill. The reason that I'm doing it now rather than waiting is Hill is predicted to go up today or tomorrow. Chow is predicted to go down tonight. If Rogers goes off with Leeds and Wolves up next, I guarantee there's probably going to be a rise for him as well in there, right? So I'm thinking we make the moves this week. We make our team also stronger for this week as well. So yeah. Yeah, West Ham in the know. We spoke about that earlier, saying that they've all been spotted in training, so the leak was bullshit, basically. Rogers or Enzo? Longer term, I think Rogers. This week, I'm probably think Enzo could do better. Yeah, if you're on the same strategy as me of wildcarding in 32, bench boost in 33, I would play the triple captaincy this week. FPL has got really popular this year. I think the changes that they've made, they've worked, right? Maybe DEFCON, probably not as much, but the ability of the chips has really made the game a lot more popular, I would feel. Purely down to the fact that, you know, we had that first half of the season where we had to use all our chips. And a lot of the first half of the season of the game was always just about navigating, not pulling the trigger on certain chips. That was pretty much it. And you were waiting for double game weeks, right? Whereas now, we don't have to wait for the double game week. So everybody can use the chips in the first half. Then they get the chips again. Then we've had AFCON transfers. There's just been so much that has gone for the game right this year that I think's made it a lot more engaging. And I think that's probably why I've enjoyed it. You know, I've not had the best season compared to last year where we were absolutely smashing it. But I think what the changes with the double chips have really helped me personally make the game more interesting, more fun, obviously more swingy. But if you can get on the right side of variance, it's always great fun, isn't it? Will you play Hill over Wilson? I haven't got Hill over Wilson, but I would actually play Wilson over Hill. If I had both of those players, that's probably the way I would go with it. That is probably for me the way I would look to go with it. We have just hit 26.5k subscribers. Thank you so much. I think last week we hit 26k, so 500 subs in a week. Jeez, mental. Yeah, more topics for us obviously to speak about as well is better for content creation as well. Because, you know, a lot of the weeks where we had nothing going off, we'd just be like, I'm rolling. Done. Why would you tune in and watch that? You wouldn't. So I genuinely think the changes that they made in terms of the chips is a big win for the game. DEFCON probably needs adjusting a little bit. Either you leave DEFCON as it is with the current thresholds, and then you maybe upgrade strikers. So this is what EFL Fantasy did, where originally they pretty much just everyone was rocking back threes because clearances and tackles and whatever, just defenders were doing them, and you just had a League 2 defender in, and just that was it. You were fine to go. Whereas now they've made it so it's all kind of, you know, strikers actually get shots on target points, which I think is a very easy metric for people to understand, right? A lot more easier than defensive contribution. So I think what you should do is wipe out defensive contributions for forwards, just don't have it as a scoring metric, and just have shots on target as a scoring metric, right? For every shot on target a forward gets, it's 1 point, say, or for every 2 shots on target they get, it's 1 point. I think that makes strikers then more important in the game again. And I think then balances that kind of thing out a little bit where, yes, you've got defenders with defensive contributions and midfielders and they're great, but you've also then got strikers with shots on target, giving them a reason to actually, put in 3 strikers, give even more picks as well to the game, right? So yeah, I think someone just put it there. Love DEFCON, but 5 points for a striker goal would also be fairer. Yeah. So again, I think we just need to leave DEFCON as it is if you want to, and bump strikers up a little bit. And I think DEFCON has probably become more prevalent this season, given that the way that the game is being played, like just general football, because it's more hoofball, more set piece situations. So that's going to obviously mean that defenders are doing more, they're clearing the ball more, all that sort of stuff, right? So I think add some points in for strikers, just balance that up a little bit. So that if they're having a shot on target or every 2 shots on target, they then get an additional 2 points. I think that would be great. The World Cup fantasy scoring system was also pretty nice as well. I like the differential bonus as well. That was also nice. I think it was like if a player under 10% scored above 4 points, they got an additional 2 points as well. A really nice metric to add. And again, opened up not just a template. It meant that there was more picks to go for, because as soon as somebody became template, they lost that extra 2 bonus. So yeah, again, I think there's probably going to be tweaks that FPL are looking at. That is probably what they'll be doing this week. Yeah, again, like we also lost Trent this season. Like if Trent was fully fit and available for Liverpool and they were a better side, who knows? Maybe he could have rocked the boat with DEFCON and stuff like that. Yeah, 4 points for an assist could also make wingbacks great again. I think we've just lost the quality of the wingbacks as well, right? The quality in terms of wingback has also dropped off compared to a few seasons ago. I'd rather start Enzo ahead of Mane. I really would. Yeah. Oh my days. What a spam that is. Get out of here. Please don't spam in the chat, guys. We will try and get round to everybody's questions. Match winning goals should be 1 point extra as well. Could also be nice. Start Anderson, Fulham, or Alderente. I'd actually be tempted to go with maybe Alderente for that one. Yeah, I think I'd probably go with Alderente. One final plea from me, guys, is we are ridiculously close to hitting 250 likes on today's stream. If you haven't already, make sure you are whacking the like button. It is really appreciated. And let's see if we can end the stream on a high, hit 250 likes, and I'll lock in my -4. All right. Going with my gut, starting Mane as Enzo blank last week. Fair enough. Fair enough. Can you please compare Gabriel and Timber for triple captaincy? Yeah, I mean, Timber is the leading defender for non-penalty XGI, has the same clean sheet opportunities as, of course, Gabriel, but I think Gabriel is probably a little bit more secure with better baseline bonus, better at hitting those defensive contributions as well. So I think for me, that is why I've selected Gabriel. He's also the safety net, right? Is most of the game are probably looking at Gabriel this week in terms of their triple captaincy. So from a safety perspective in terms of rank, it also keeps you a little bit safe. Because if he does go off and you've only got, Timber as it, and he just gets the clean sheets and Gabriel goes on a Madden, could put you at a big disadvantage. Is Thiago essential? I don't think he's essential, but he will be a very popular pick. Obviously after next game week as well, given the fixtures that are coming up for Brentford. Yeah. Talk to Munoz. Yeah, I don't mind it. Again, it might just be because of the tight turnaround. People don't think he's going to play. Like we have seen a lot of rotation from that Chelsea side. I think personally he probably plays, but that's it's kind of one of those. And he was very fortunate to have got his 2 assists last week as well. Zubimendi's fine, but I think there are plenty of better Arsenal picks for me personally that I would be selecting ahead of Zubimendi this week. Thank you guys for helping the stream get to 250 likes. It is really appreciated. Yeah, 7 points from both games. I'd be very happy. I would take that. That's just basically like a striker scoring, isn't it? And getting 1 bonus point. Over 2 games, I think you would take that. I would be more tempted with Wirtz than Ekatike at the moment, but we'll see how things pan out, right? We would see how things pan out. If I've got Roofs or Dubravka, I'd actually go Roofs ahead of Dubravka this week, purely because Sunderland are unbeaten at home. I think he could get plenty of saves in. If they do keep a clean sheet as well, he could be on for a mega haul there. Need to start one of Garner, Thiago, or Hall. I'd be tempted to go with Garner on that one. Just a safe and steady 4 points every week, isn't he? That is what he is. He's a safe and steady 4 picks. I'd play Mbuemo this week. We haven't had any kind of further updates to really suggest that, he's done some serious damage or injury or anything like that. So, yeah, I probably would. Calafiori also fine. I'm a little bit concerned about the minutes, but yeah, I think this should be okay. I'm triple captaining Gyökeres. I mean, go for it, man. Go for it. Obviously, we'll be wrapping up the stream around about 4 o'clock. We'll be letting the big boys go and do their usual things as well. Your FPL mates, your Harrys, your Raptors, all the big boys. You know the fellas. You know the guys. Please don't spam in the chat. We will get around to people's questions or try and answer as many as we possibly can before we wrap up today. Transfer in Hill or Senesi. I think Hill's just exceptional value. So, yeah, he probably would be the one. Start Raul or Thiago. I'd go with Thiago. Ekatike to Gyökeres. Probably, but you'll want to take him back out maybe. Yeah, go for it. Start Chalobah or Senesi. Chalobah. Transfer in Hill or Senesi. Hill. Would you? Okay, if you can remove them, then that's fine. Yeah. Cheers, man. Appreciate the comments. One day, eh? We're getting there. We're slowly working our way up. We'll keep plugging along. I don't think I would take out Rodgers and Cash for Timber and a budget mid. No, I wouldn't. Up the Gabriel TC. Yeah, we will be there with the Gabriel TC. I just need to lock in my move, don't I, for this week. We're going with a -4. I'm firming it. Let's do it. -4. Playing Rodgers ahead of Hill. Put Anderson first sub. And my TC is active. There we go. -4 taken. And I actually think the team looks really good. And especially for next week as well. I think the team's in a really good position where we can just easily wheel out this team next week. No dramas, to be honest. Yeah. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that as a side for this week. Like I said, I've done the moves this week because Chow's going down. Hill looks likely to go up. Rodgers, if he gets an attacking return, is also probably likely to go up ahead of Leeds and Wolves. Like, that makes sense. So we've done it this week. I'm happy with how the team is lining up. I feel I'm hopeful of a good week. I'm hopeful of a big juicy green as well. There's 2 Andersons, mate. One with an E and one with an O. So let me know which one you're talking about. Yeah, Charles just been frustrating. I know now he's going to definitely score, isn't he? I'm tempted just to put a bet on him to score at any time. Just to maybe make myself feel a little bit better. Yeah. We have got the exact same front 7 playing this week now. Nice. It's a very good looking front 7 though, isn't it? It is a really, really good front looking 7. I think this team looks really good for this week now. So yeah. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the structure. Look, we've taken the minus. It is what it is. So yeah. Very stressful deadline, mate. Very stressful. We've just taken a -4. We're going with the TC on Gabriel as well. So yeah, there we go. I personally would keep Semenyo for this week. It's a cracking fixture. Next week, you might want to sell him maybe to a Rodgers, maybe to a Wirtz. But for this week right now, for me personally, he's a keep. Hall to Munoz, Garner to Rodgers for a -4. Don't hate that. Don't hate that. Yeah, captaining the TC on the single game week player, not the move this week. It is all about the double game weeks for me personally. I probably would roll, yeah. Start Ekatike on Mane. I probably would go with Mane. What was the -4 I went for? I took out Szoboszlai and brought in Rodgers, and we took out Chow and brought in Hill. The reason I did that is because I think the 5-man midfield, or at least having Elliot Anderson rotate around, is going to be the right play to go for. Ekatike, Haaland, and Thiago, all the next 3 fixtures, like, are really, really good. 27, 28, 29, 30. Look really good for these guys. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. We're just copying. We're just copying each other now, Abby. That's it. Yeah, I think Saliba's probably fine. He'll do all right for the double game week if he gets both clean sheets. Doesn't really get, defensive contributions. I think it's 10% of his starts this season. He's hit DEFCON, so it's not something I would be expecting from him, but yeah. Yeah, that's where we're at, guys. That is where we are at in terms of this week. A -4. I think that might be the first -4 I've taken this season. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but I'm pretty confident it is the first -4 I've taken this season. So yeah, wish me luck, I guess, guys. Wish me luck. Best of luck to everybody in the chat for this game week as well. Obviously a lot with the TC on Gabriel. So yeah, we are gonna back away from it, and we're gonna leave things there, I guess. Like I said, best of luck to everybody in the chat. There will be a video probably out tomorrow. I'm not going to do one tonight. I'm going to do one tomorrow night. Obviously discussing early transfer targets ahead of game week 27. Best of luck to everybody, like I said, in the chat. Hopefully the Gabriel TC works. Hopefully the -4 massively pays off as well. I will see you in the next next deadline stream, which I think is next weekend, not this weekend. Obviously got FA Cup, so the next weekend. If you do enjoy the content, make sure you follow me on all my socials, TikTok, Instagram, and of course hitting the like button on today's stream on your way out. And of course, if you did enjoy any of the stream or the content you see on the channel, make sure you are hitting that subscribe button as well. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, the best of luck for everybody in game week 26, and I will see you on the other side.